Mo. Of course, they flew there. Although the tickets were not cheap, they could afford it, and saving time was more important. Upon arriving in Harbin, they first went to the guest house where Ding Ziqing was staying, and he was already waiting to meet them. In Ding Ziqing's room, Su and Mo noticed a large box with several wooden slats nailed to it for protection. Ziqing, what did you bring? Su Tingqian asked. I bought a television as a bride price for Xiaolan. Her family has everything else, so I thought a TV would be nice for the elders to enjoy, Ding Ziqing replied. That's very thoughtful. My in-laws will surely be pleased, Su Tingqian said. Ding Ziqing was sincere, and Xiaolan would be well taken care of. Ding Ziqing smiled shyly, as long as they like it. To be honest, he felt a bit nervous, worried that Xiaolan's parents might not like him. After all, he had lost both parents and had no siblings. Although he had a godfather, some older people might see him as alone and think he wouldn't have support in tough times. Su Tingqian patted Ding Ziqing on the shoulder. Don't be nervous, relax. Eventually, every son-in-law has to meet his in-laws. Thinking of this, Su Tingqian remembered how Lu Chongjing had threatened them the first time they met. Humph, that kid. Mo Yurong noticed Su Tingqian's demeanor and teased him. Aren't you nervous too? Otherwise, why dye your hair? Su Tingqian's hair had turned mostly gray due to past hardships, but this time he bought hair dye to look younger for meeting his in-laws. Ding Ziqing, noticing the change, said, Brother Qian, I was wondering why you looked so much younger. It's because your hair is black now. Su Tingqian didn't like that comment. What? Do I look old? He was still in his 40s, in the prime of life. Over the years, Su Tingqian had taken good care of himself. Even with gray hair, he still had a refined and handsome appearance. Now that his hair was dyed black, he looked even younger, and people might think he was in his 30s or 40s. Look at me. I can't express myself well. Brother Qian, you've always been strong and youthful, Ding Ziqing quickly added. Su Tingqian thought, if you can't speak well, then don't say anything. Mo Yurong chuckled quietly, but helped change the subject. Ziqing, how do you plan to arrange the proposal? Let us know so that Uncle Zhang can be prepared. When it came to business, Ding Ziqing straightened up and said, Xiaolan has faced a lot of gossip in their village because of her previous divorce, so I want to give her a dignified proposal. My plan is to give a television as a bride price, along with 600 yuan. Additionally, we will hold a banquet and try to invite everyone from the village. He wanted people to know that Xiaolan, even as a second-time bride, was a treasure to him. Although Ding Ziqing had spent 2 years in a labor camp, he had saved some money over the years without needing to support a family. He could afford a decent wedding for Lu Xiaolan. After hearing this, Zhang Zhen had no objections. All right, let's do it your way. After Su Tingqian's family left, Ding Ziqing took out 600 yuan from his bag and handed it to Zhang Zhen. Godfather, this is the bride price. Please give it to Xiaolan's parents. Zhang Zhen shot him a look. Have you ever seen a son pay for his own bride price? Godfather, Zhang Zhen interrupted. Don't worry, I can cover this bride price. What? Are you saying you don't want to pay this money? Are you planning to stop supporting me in the future? Zhang Zhen joked. Ding Ziqing quickly waved his hands. No way. Even though I call you Godfather, I still respect you as a leader who has helped me. Ziqing, I truly consider you my son. There's no need for such formality between us. As parents, we should take on our responsibilities, Zhang Zhen said. Helping with a child's wedding is also a joy for parents. Once you start a family, it's not just about you anymore. There will be many expenses. You still have 2 more years of university before graduating, so save your money for your family. I'm not short on cash. Having been a leader for so long and working in a library for several years, Zhang Zhen had saved quite a bit. Last year, when he helped Su Tingqian manage his studio, Su Tingqian even paid him a monthly salary of 80 yuan, covering his meals and accommodation, so he hardly spent any money. Zhang Zhen's words deeply moved Ding Ziqing. He had lost his parents early and hadn't felt such care in many years. Godfather, don't worry. I will take good care of you in the future, Ding Ziqing said, his eyes misty. All right, I'll take care of the arrangements and make sure everything is done properly. He had brought 2,000 yuan, so he was confident everything would go smoothly. That evening, the group went to the department store in Harbin, bought many things, and the next morning took a train to Shuangshan City. Upon arriving in Shuangshan City, they took a military transport vehicle back to Lijiakan. In Lijiakan, Li Yue and Lu Qing'an had started preparing a few days in advance, taking leave from work to get ready. They thoroughly cleaned both their home and Lu Chongjing's house, washing the windows and even mopping the floors. They also washed all the bedding, and Li Yue even considered starching it, but Lu Xiaolan stopped her, saying that people from the south don't do it that way and wouldn't be used to it. Lu Qing'an arranged to buy a sheep from the village, planning to slaughter it along with some chickens to entertain the guests when the in-laws arrived. With great anticipation, Su Mo and her group finally returned to Lijiakan. When Li Yue saw Xiao Ding, she smiled brightly. Although she had seen photos, in reality, he looked even more spirited and respectable. He might not be as tall as her 3 sons, but he was refined and had an upright posture, clearly an intellectual. The entire Lu family came to the brigade to greet the guests, except for Lu Yuji and Lu Hohot, who were busy cooking at home. When both families arrived, they had to make it a grand occasion. As people got out of the car, Lu Qing'an quickly went to greet them, saying, "In-laws, thank you for your long journey." "It's not hard. We had a car the whole way. Very convenient," Su Tingqian replied. Seeing that the two had already shaken hands, Su Mo quickly introduced, "Dad, Mom, this is my dad and mom." Li Yue also shook hands with Mo Yurong, saying, "In-law, thank you for coming all this way. You must be tired." "Not at all. The kids have been married for a while and this is our first visit. I feel a bit embarrassed. I was busy with work before, and there were only a few days off. Now that I have more free time, I can finally come." "It's fine, we understand. We should have visited you, but we are just simple folks from the countryside and haven't traveled far. Anyone can come. We are all family, no need for formalities." Lu Boming was chatting with Zhang Zhen while Su Mo and Ding Zhiqing were unloading things from the car. Lu Xiaolan, Lu Xingjuan, and Lu Weiguo were there to help. When the large box containing the television was taken out, the onlookers from the village whispered among themselves, curious about what the new son-in-law had brought in such a big box. After unloading everything, the group headed back, eager to talk at home instead of being the center of attention here. Lu Xingjuan and Lu Weiguo carried the big box. They couldn't tell if it was heavy or light. They arrived in the evening, just in time for dinner. After dropping off their things at Sumo's place, they went to the Lu family's house to eat. Country folks love a lively gathering. Now that the sports event was over, there was no need to be overly cautious, so Lu Qing'an invited a few close relatives to join. After a hearty meal, someone brought up Lu Xiaolan's situation, and Zhang Zhen took the opportunity to mention it. As soon as Zhang Zhen finished speaking, the room fell silent. Did they hear that right? A bride price of 600 yuan and a television? Plus, a feast for the whole village? This was unprecedented in the brigade. Even for a first marriage, such a display was rare. In the countryside, second marriages usually involved a small symbolic bride price of 20 or 30 yuan and a few belongings taken to the groom's home. No feasts involved. One of Lu Xiaolan's uncles quickly laughed and said, "Of course. Xiaolan is the first college student from our village. She's smart and capable, a rare good daughter." "Yes, Xiaolan is a wonderful girl. Marrying her is a blessing for my son Zicheng," Zhang Zhen added. Lu Qing'an and his wife smiled broadly. Since the in-laws wanted to give their daughter a good reputation, they wouldn't contradict them at this moment. However, they wouldn't accept the gifts, instead giving them back to the young couple for their life together. Others joined in the praise, and they chatted until around 8 or 9. Knowing they must be tired from their journey, everyone dispersed, letting them return to Su Mo's place to rest. Su Mo and her 2 children, along with Mo Yurong, slept in the room Su Mo used to stay in, while Su Tingqian, Zhang Zhen, and Ding Zhiqing slept in the west room. Both rooms had large beds, enough for 3 or 4 big men. As they were being shown to their rooms, Lu Xiaolan pulled Ding Ziqing aside and asked, "Didn't you say we would just have a few tables here? Why invite the whole brigade?" Lu Xiaolan was a bit worried about the expenses. So many people meant a lot of food. "This is what I discussed with my godfather. Marrying such a wonderful wife like you deserves to be celebrated with everyone. You are worth the best in my heart." Lu Xiaolan felt touched, realizing he remembered her past worries about gossip in the village. Otherwise, such a low-key person wouldn't invite so many. "Ziqing, I don't care what others say. You don't have to." She had already divorced once, so she no longer worried about others' opinions. "Xiaolan, this is the normal process. Weddings require a feast. Times are better now, and the country allows it. I want to give you the respect you deserve. Not only here, but before school starts, we'll have 2 tables in Harbin and Beijing, inviting familiar classmates and teachers to celebrate together. We are openly in love and getting married. I want everyone I know to know you are my wife. I don't mind having 2 tables in Harbin and Beijing, but we don't need to invite everyone in the brigade. Just a few familiar faces will do. There are too many people in our brigade." "No way. You already said it. We have to invite everyone from the village." Ding Ziqing playfully insisted, "Xiaolan, I said I want to marry you with dignity." Seeing she couldn't change his mind, Lu Xiaolan felt both amused and exasperated, but her heart was sweet. When she returned, she told Li Wei about it. Li Wei smiled and said, "You silly girl, you're in a good situation but don't realize it. Ziqing cares for you and wants to give you a good reputation after all the gossip you've faced in the village." "I know, but I'm just worried about the money." When Sanga got married, there were over 20 tables. Now, it might be 30 or 40. Li Wei waved her hand. "Don't worry about that. Your father and I will handle it." They wouldn't invite everyone, just like during the 3rd son's wedding. The next day, after breakfast, Zhang Zhen and Ding Ziqing dressed in their best clothes. Zhang Zhen took a big red envelope with 600 yuan, along with cigarettes, alcohol, tea, candies, and snacks, and carried the television. Accompanied by Su Mo's family, they went to the Lu family to propose. What Zhang Zhen said last night had already spread through the village. Many curious onlookers took the morning off work to watch, and by the time they arrived, a crowd had gathered in front of the Lu home. Seeing them approach with so many items, including a television, the crowd gasped and whispered. Lu Xiaolan from the secretary's family is truly a treasure. Even for a second marriage, she can marry so well. This new son-in-law seems much better than the last one. What's wrong with his second marriage? She's a college graduate with a bright future, not like us who struggle in the fields. I heard this new son-in-law is also a college student, studying in Beijing. I heard the groom's family has known Lu San's wife's family for a long time. No wonder. Otherwise, how could she marry so well for a second time? She has good support. I heard that Su Jiqing is going abroad to study.
What? Who told you that?
My husband heard it from their family's elder this morning. In the eyes of the common people, anyone going abroad for studies was seen as someone highly valued by the country. When they returned, they would surely become important leaders. Do you think the secretary's family is lucky to have such a good daughter-in-law? Ever since Su Mo married in, their lives seem to have improved. You're right. The old secretary was almost gone, but after Su Mo married, he's not only alive, but getting stronger. Lu Changjing's position is also rising. I heard he's now a division leader. Lu Xiaolan, a divorced woman, moved to Yangcheng, got into college, and now is marrying a college student again. Wow, the more you say, the more I think Su Jiqing is a lucky star. The Lu family did not know what the onlookers outside were saying. At this moment, everyone was already seated in the hall, following the wedding proposal process. The proposal gifts included 2 packs of Chinese cigarettes, 2 bottles of Maotai liquor, 2 cans of top-grade tea, a box of biscuits, about 10 pounds, 6 pounds of candy, and a large piece of pork that Ding Ziqing bought early in the morning from the supply and marketing cooperative. Also included was a television and 600 yuan as a betrothal gift. After completing the process, everyone began discussing the banquet arrangements, setting the date for 3 days later, August 10th, the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, Qixi, which is a good day for weddings. Brother Lu, how many people should we invite?
Please do it quickly.
However, you need to help coordinate the tables, chairs, and helpers, one person said. Of course, Lu Qing'an replied. Also, I would like to trouble you to introduce me to the team, so I can buy some grain and vegetables, as well as 2 sheep, 20 chickens, and 50 pounds of eggs for the banquet. Brother Zhang, there's no need to buy grain and vegetables. I will prepare them, Lu Qing'an insisted, wanting to maintain their family's dignity. When a son marries, it's not right for the bride's family to provide the grain. Brother Lu, since we are hosting the banquet here, we should cover the costs, Zhang said. Brother Zhang, how can we not contribute anything when marrying off our daughter? We don't have much of a dowry to give, so let us handle this grain, Lu Qing'an countered. This is not acceptable. There's no such reasoning. After some back and forth, Zhang finally convinced Lu Qing'an. Once the arrangements were settled, Lu Qing'an took Zhang to the team to pay for the grain and eggs. The vegetables, sheep, and chickens would be picked and slaughtered on the day of the banquet. Members of the cooperative buy from the team at the purchasing station price, which is much cheaper than the supply and marketing cooperative. Zhang bought 200 pounds of rice and 200 pounds of wheat for 45 yuan. Since they were making a big event, there was no need to save on grain. They used only fine grains. Vegetables were priced at 2 cents per pound, and Zhang ordered 200 pounds for 4 yuan. 50 pounds of eggs cost 34 yuan. 2 sheep, weighing over 150 pounds, cost 60 yuan. 20 chickens, weighing just over 100 pounds, cost 65 yuan. Later, they would arrange to buy half a pig and about 100 pounds of fish, and that would be enough for the banquet. In total, the banquet would cost just over 300 yuan. The accountant, seeing Zhang pull out over 200 yuan without blinking, felt a bit shocked. Although their team was known for its good profits and his family received 200 to 300 yuan in dividends each year, he was reluctant to spend over 200 yuan just for a banquet. It seemed the conditions set by the new in-laws were quite generous. While Zhang and the others were busy, Ding Zicheng and Lu Xiaolan set up the television. Knowing that the voltage in the countryside was unstable and that power outages were common, Ding Zicheng thoughtfully bought a voltage stabilizer to protect the TV. Once the TV was set up, Lu Guoyang and Lu Guoqiang eagerly started watching. During the new year, when their younger siblings talked about TVs, they had longed for one, and thanks to their uncle, they finally had one. Before long, the hall was filled with children eager to watch the TV. Lu Family Village had good profits, and some affluent families could afford TVs. However, the country had not yet introduced new production lines, so TV production was very limited, and even cities struggled to meet demand, making it nearly impossible for rural areas to buy one. Thus, this was the first television in Lu Family Village. That evening, besides the children, many adults came to watch the TV. Since the hall was too crowded, Lu Qing'an moved the TV to the corridor, allowing everyone to gather in the yard to watch. 3 days passed quickly amid everyone's busyness, and soon it was August 10th. Even with Lu Qing'an and Lu Boming trying to keep things simple, they still needed to invite at least 30 tables of guests. The Lu family didn't have enough space, so they borrowed the drying yard from the team. Early in the morning, those who came to help began to get busy, setting up tables, washing vegetables, and slaughtering chickens and sheep, all very lively. Everyone was quite happy. The last time it was this lively was at Lu Chongzheng and Su Mo's wedding. Su Mo got up early to do Lu Xiaolan's makeup beautifully. Lu Xiaolan wore a red dress that Su Mo had given her. This dress was brought back by Su Qifa from the port city, as it was not available domestically. Looking at her radiant reflection in the mirror, Lu Xiaolan suddenly choked up and said, "Sister-in-law, thank you so much." Su Mo gently patted her and smiled. "On your big day, you mustn't cry. Both your brother and I hope you'll be happy." Although Su Mo was younger than Lu Xiaolan on the surface, with 2 lifetimes behind her, she felt older and had always regarded Lu Xiaolan as her sister. "Yes, I will." Lu Xiaolan nodded. At that moment, Lele peeked in from the door and exclaimed, "When did a fairy come here? You look familiar." "Fairy sister, you look just like my aunt." Lu Xiaolan's moment of sadness was instantly lifted by Leilei's words. You little rascal. Are you teasing me? Look at all that sweat on you. Where have you been playing? Come here and wipe it off, Lu Xiaolan said, picking up a towel. Leilei laughed as he walked in, letting Lu Xiaolan wipe his sweat. I ran over to see Uncle. Aunt, let me tell you, Uncle is wearing a suit and tie. He looks much better than before. Indeed, people rely on their appearance. Leilei concluded. After saying that, he ran back outside. Aunt, I'll keep an eye out for you. If Uncle comes, I'll let you know. Although the southern family wasn't there, they still decided to hold a simple ceremony. When the time was right, Ding Zhiqing came to pick up the bride. In front of family and friends, they made vows in front of a portrait of a great leader and bowed to their elders. Around lunchtime, they went to the team's office to host the guests. The banquet featured hearty dishes like lamb soup, braised pork, potato ribs, chicken with mushrooms, fish with radish, scrambled eggs, and 2 large bowls of stir-fried greens with pork cracklings on each table, with steamed buns and white rice as staples. The guests were nearly stuffed from the feast. As everyone enjoyed their lunch, Yang Jingming hid by the roadside at the village entrance, watching the lively scene from a distance. Over the years, he had not heard of Lu Xiaolan remarrying, and he secretly hoped for it. Now, that hope was completely gone. She was doing better and better, while he seemed destined to remain as he was. Yang Jingming felt a sense of unwillingness, but was powerless to change anything. He felt a surge of anger and wanted to rush over and ruin the joy and dignity of the occasion. After hesitating for a long time, he finally turned his car around and left in despair. During the days leading up to the wedding banquet, Su Mo and her family took some time to visit Li family Ao. Su Mo mainly wanted to see Chao Yadu, while Su Tingqian and his wife thought they might as well visit since they were already there. Before going, Su Tingqian told Lu Qing'an and the others about how he and his wife had lived under the cowshed in Li family Ao for a year. Brother Lu, I'm really sorry. Given the situation back then, I was afraid of dragging you down, so I didn't let the kids tell you about our time there. After we returned to the city, things were still unclear, so I couldn't say much. Now that things have improved, I thought I'd explain in person and apologize. Don't blame the kids. I told them not to mention it. Lu Qing'an was shocked. He had no idea his in-laws had lived next door for so long. The couple had kept it a secret very well. Oh, it's okay. It's hard to bring up.
You.
You must have suffered, Lu Qing'an stammered, glancing at Lu Boming and Li Wei to see their reactions. Lu Chongjing had mentioned this to Lu Boming before he was transferred to Yangcheng, but he hadn't told anyone else, so Lu Boming was not surprised. Li Wei had heard about it from Lu Xiaolan during the new year and didn't tell Lu Qing'an because she knew he tended to overthink. So, even though she tried to act shocked, her limited acting skills couldn't fool someone who had lived with Lu Qing'an for a lifetime. Lu Qing'an felt a chill in his heart, hit with 1,000 blows. So, his father and wife both knew, but they kept it from him. Feeling bitter, Lu Qing'an thought that if it weren't for Lu Xiaolan's upcoming wedding, he might have shut himself away. Chao Yadu had finished 5th grade and would start middle school in the second half of the year. Su Mo had only managed to get her free education through elementary school. In middle school, she would have to pay tuition, which was 6 yuan each semester. However, she did well on the entrance exam, ranking 1st in the school. The local middle school, knowing her good grades and that she was an orphan, waived her fees. When Su Mo arrived, Chao Yadu was working in the fields and was very happy to see her. Auntie, when did you come back? I've been back for 2 days, Su Mo replied. Why are you working in this field? It was the season for weeding and pest control. She saw other women and girls working in different fields, while this one was mostly men, likely because the ground was hard. Instinctively, Su Mo felt that the villagers were bullying her again by assigning her the tougher land. Chao Yada smiled. I'm weeding here because the work points are higher. I specifically asked the team leader to assign me here. I'm strong enough for it. The food subsidy that her aunt had helped her apply for was gone this year. Now that she was older, she ate more and had to go to school, so she needed to earn more work points during the break. Otherwise, her food rations wouldn't be enough. You're growing, so don't overdo it. If you run out of food, just buy some from the team, Suemo advised. Okay. Thank you for your concern, Auntie. I know what I'm doing. Weeding is just hand strength. It's not too tiring, Chow Yadu explained. They moved to a slightly secluded spot to avoid prying eyes, and Suemo handed her a bag. I brought you some school supplies. Inside were papers, pens, exercise books, and a new outfit.
Thank you, Auntie.
Chow Yadu wiped her hands and took the bag with both hands. You're starting middle school in the second half of the year. Keep this money for tuition and accommodation. There are more subjects in middle school than in elementary, so you should stay at school to avoid the long commute, Suemo said, pulling out 20 yuan and handing it to her. No, Auntie, I ranked first, so the school waived my fees, Chow Yadu quickly refused. Really? That's great. Keep working hard and study well so you can go to college. Take the money. You'll need it in middle school, Suemo insisted. As you grow up, you'll need to buy sanitary products or tissues. No need, Auntie. I haven't spent the money you and Teacher Gu gave me yet. I can't take more from you, Chow Yadu said. Suemo and Teacher Gu had occasionally sent her 5 or 10 yuan over the past 2 years.
Take it.
Suemo pressed the money into her hand. Consider it a loan from me. When you grow up and earn money, you can pay me back. Hearing this, Li Chun Chao accepted the money, secretly vowing to repay her aunt and Teacher Gu tenfold when she grew up. I'm going abroad to study next month for a year. If you need anything while I'm gone, you can find my in-laws in Lu Family Village or write to Teacher Gu. Li Chun Chao was thrilled. She had heard the principal mention the selection of students for studying abroad, which was for the most talented in the country. Her aunt was amazing. Auntie, are you going to be an exchange student? Sort of. Exchange students go for a long time, but I can only go for a year, Suemo explained. Li Chun Chao didn't fully understand, but she knew that anyone going abroad was impressive. Auntie, I'll study hard too, so I can go abroad and come back to serve the country. Good, I'll be waiting for you. Suemo checked in on her life and learned that the people in Li Family AO no longer bullied her. In fact, because of her good grades, many encouraged their children to study with her, which relieved Suemo. After leaving the field, Suemo and her parents walked through Li Family AO and stopped by the cow shed. The people in the cow shed had been cleared of their past issues, and now it was home to the elderly who took care of the cows and donkeys. As the three of them walked, they naturally attracted attention. Dressed well, they didn't look like locals, causing some to worry they might be spies, prompting someone to find Team Leader Li. Team Leader Li hurried back and, upon seeing Suemo, breathed a sigh of relief. Researcher Su, are you here to see Chun Chao again? Yes, I just visited her. I'm walking around the village, since I haven't been here in a while. Right, do come by more often, Team Leader Li said while sizing up Su Tingqian and his wife, thinking they looked familiar. Have you two been to Li Family AO before? He asked. Su Tingqian smiled. Team Leader Li, don't you recognize us? As soon as he spoke, Team Leader Li recognized him, exclaiming, Oh, old Su, I mean Comrade Su. If you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have recognized you. He had looked like an old man with gray hair before, but now he seemed to have aged backward, with black hair and a youthful appearance. Could returning to the city really make one younger? Looking at the three of them, an answer was about to come to Team Leader Li's mind. What a coincidence. You all arrived on the same day as Researcher Su. Suemo smiled. It's not a coincidence. We came together. These are my parents. Team Leader Li. Wow, what a surprise. He had thought they were just relatives, not realizing they were her actual parents. This researcher, Su, was truly someone remarkable. While her parents were in the cow shed, she had visited several times without revealing anything. Suemo needed to prepare for her trip abroad, and time was tight. After Lu Xiaolan's wedding banquet, she planned to leave on the 12th. On the 11th, Lu Yuji came to return the gifts. When she arrived, Su Tingqian had brought many items for both the main and secondary families. Regardless of personal feelings, it was important to follow proper etiquette on his first visit. Lu Yuji intended to make amends and put in a lot of effort for this return gift. In addition to a large bag of dried mushrooms and walnuts, there was also a nice wolfskin. After giving the items to Mo Yurong and chatting for a while, Lu Yuji went to the East Room to find Su Mo. Upon seeing Su Mo, Lu Yuji awkwardly said, "Third sister-in-law, I didn't mean anything by it. That day, I just got carried away during an argument with your brother and said some things I didn't really mean. Please don't take it to heart." Since Lu Xiaolan made a phone call and received a letter from Li Yue asking Lu Qing'an to write, Su Mo had stopped sending things to the main and secondary families. Lu Yuji realized that their argument had been reported back to Su Mo. After being scolded by her parents, she reflected on her behavior and acknowledged that she had gone too far. No one was entitled to anything in this world. She had been struggling with how to write an apology letter to Su Mo, but her limited education made it difficult to express herself. Since Su Mo was back, she decided to come in person to apologize. "Elder sister-in-law, it's fine. I didn't take it to heart." Su Mo truly hadn't taken it to heart. Her relationship with Lu Yuji was based on their connection through Lu Chongzheng, and there were no strong feelings involved. After realizing what kind of person Lu Yuji was, she decided to keep her distance while maintaining a polite facade. Hearing Su Mo's response, Lu Yuji felt relieved. "That's why it's important to read and learn. I lack education and often speak without thinking. During the argument with your brother, I just blurted out whatever came to mind, but that's not how I really feel. I've always appreciated you. If it weren't for you, life at home wouldn't be so good. Your third uncle even arranged for Fengqin to join the army, giving her a bright future. I'm really grateful for that." Su Mo raised an eyebrow and politely replied, "We're family. It's only right to help each other." She was aware of Lu Yuji's situation. It was said that during her first 3 months, Fengqin cried and begged to change units, but Lu Chongzheng had intervened. Now, nearly a year later, Lu Chongzheng mentioned that she had settled down and was doing well. Lu Yuji felt she had shared a lot with Su Mo, and Su Mo responded politely. Seeing Su Mo's attitude, Lu Yuji finally relaxed, relieved that she hadn't completely offended her. After chatting about village matters for a while, Lu Yuji left. Meanwhile, at the Lu family home, the elders and Lu Xiaolan were discussing things. "Is the place where the in-laws live far from the family compound?"
Li Yue asked Ding Zikeng.
"It's probably about the same distance as from here to the county town. It takes over an hour by bicycle and about half an hour by motorcycle," Ding Ziqing replied objectively. Lu Xiaolan's wedding had gone on without Lu Chongzheng, who had been informed by Su Mo that things were tense at the front and war was likely. He hadn't been home in a long time. Now, with their son at the front and their daughter-in-law studying abroad, they felt uneasy leaving the 2 children completely in the care of their in-laws. "Dad, how about you go to Yangqing for a year to help look after the kids?" Lu Qing'an suggested thoughtfully. Having someone in the family compound would mean the in-laws wouldn't have to run back and forth every day. It would be easier for Dad to cook there, since there's a cafeteria. "I can go if needed," Lu Boming said nonchalantly. "No," Lu Xiaolan disagreed. "Dad is getting older, and the climate is very different. He might not adapt well. Besides, with a third brother and sister-in-law not around, if Dad feels unwell, there won't be anyone to help him. Would he be helping or just causing more trouble?" Lu Qing'an thought about it and agreed. But if his wife went, it would leave just him and his father at home, which was also a concern. However, he figured it was only for a year and they could manage. Maybe by then, there wouldn't be a war and the third brother would come home, allowing his wife to return as well. "How about you go, dear?" Lu Qing'an asked.
Li Yue felt conflicted.
She was willing to go, but being alone in an unfamiliar place made her anxious. "Dad, Mom, I think it's unnecessary. Qiange has already hired someone for the business and can take time off. Anan is smart and can handle her own affairs. In the family compound, Commander Su will keep an eye on things, so there's no need to worry," Ding Ziqing said. "That won't do," Lu Qing'an replied. "Even if the in-laws can manage, we can't just ignore our responsibilities and act like we're not involved. The two children were still loose. We'll make arrangements here, and then talk to Su Mo. If she needs help, we'll go. If not, we won't. If he weren't the party secretary, he would have gone himself. The third child was independent and rarely asked for help from home, and marrying a wife had made him even more self-sufficient. As parents, they understood that they should offer help when they could to avoid putting the burden on their children. All right, I'll go, Li Wei said. Xiaolan, let's go talk to your sister-in-law. Lu Xiaolan nodded, but Ding Ziqing felt that Su Mo had likely already made arrangements and wouldn't need it. In fact, Su Mo had already communicated with the two children. After the children returned home for lunch, they went to the cafeteria to eat. In the evening, Su Tingqian and the others would go over. If they couldn't make it, Su Tingda would go to ensure there was an adult at home. As for meals, that was easy to solve since the family was already in the food business and could bring home ready-to-eat meals. Sure enough, when Li Wei went to talk to Su Mo immediately responded. Mom, if you're just going to help look after the kids, then it's not necessary. But if you want to learn more about Yangcheng, I'd be very happy. The country is undergoing changes. I've mentioned to Xiaolan before that I'd like you to open a tailor shop to sell clothes in the future. If you're interested, now is a great time to come with us. You can work from home, and when the clothes are ready, you can send them to my second brother, and he'll arrange for them to be sold. Li Wei was somewhat tempted by Su Mo's words, but after thinking it over, she decided to stay in Lu family village. With her son and daughter-in-law not around, and being unfamiliar with Yang City, she felt it would only be a hassle if she went there just to see the children. She didn't want to trouble her in-laws while they were busy with their business. So, she expressed her gratitude to Su Tingqian and his wife, saying that if they needed help, they should call her, and she would come right away. On the morning of the 12th, Su Mo and her family of 5, along with Zhang Zhen, set off for Shuangshan City to catch a train. Ding Ziqing did not go with them. He had taken a 20-day leave and could stay a bit longer to accompany his newlywed wife and help his in-laws with some work. Without stopping, they flew back to Yang City on the afternoon of the 14th. As soon as they returned, Su Mo got busy. Besides preparing for her trip abroad, she also needed to get everything ready at home. The reason the Su family's pastry business in Yang City was so successful was largely due to their quality ingredients. Since they couldn't get a large cold storage, she couldn't keep vegetables, but grains were manageable. Otherwise, everything would change drastically, which would greatly affect the business. So, before going abroad, she needed to prepare the most used wheat and soybeans. After deciding to go as an exchange student, Su Mo had started preparing these items, and they were already stored in her space, just waiting to be taken out. After inquiring for a few days, Su Mo finally found a farmhouse near the dock that was for sale and secretly bought it to use as a warehouse. Once purchased, Su Mo took out hundreds of bags she had bought in batches over time, filled them with the prepared grains, stacked them in the house, and locked the doors and windows. The next day, she asked Su Yuan to come over, and the siblings went together to collect the goods. When Su Yuan arrived at the farmhouse and saw the bags piled in several rooms, he gasped, "Little sister, how much did you buy?" 30 tons of wheat, 15 tons of soybeans, and 2 tons of rice. They needed about 150 pounds of flour and 70 pounds of soybeans daily. This amount would last them a year and even support opening another store. The rice was used less, so the 2 tons were reserved for family meals or employee benefits. These bags are all 150 pounds each, 400 bags of wheat, 200 bags of soybeans, and 30 bags of rice. Second brother, let's separate them a bit to keep them organized. After saying this, she began to act busy. Su Yuan had no time to marvel. Seeing his sister already working, he quickly started counting. After a while, confirming the quantities were correct, Su Yuan asked, "Little sister, is it okay to bring so much at once?" Although they had permits, bringing so much at once could easily attract attention and might implicate them. No problem. This batch of grain didn't come from the team. Those people bought several shipments. Our batch is just a portion of those shipments. Su Yuan sighed in relief but still said, "Little sister, don't buy so much at once next time. It could cause issues." But buying in bulk saves a lot of money, Su Mo replied. Previously, flour was 1.7 yuan per pound, and soybeans were 2.5 yuan. Now, in bulk, wheat is 260 yuan per ton, and soybeans are 420 yuan per ton. Sumo's prices were based on the national purchasing and retail prices. Su Yuan calculated that they saved 80 yuan per ton on wheat and soybeans, totaling a savings of 3,600 yuan for 45 tons. This was just with 3 stores. As they opened more, the savings would increase. Did they come by boat?
Su Yuan asked.
Yes, they have a few small boats that deliver goods daily. The area was near the dock, with many cargo ships coming and going, especially at night, so Su Yuan didn't suspect anything. After all, most of Su Qifa's goods also came by water. Let's continue with bulk purchases, but this is risky. If Lu Chongjing isn't around, just call me, he said. If they got caught, it would be better for him than for his sister.
Okay, sumo agreed.
This was enough for a year, and she would return before the next purchase. Just right, I was thinking of hiring a few people to raise some chickens and ducks in the countryside. I'll find some connections to buy a flour mill and a rice mill. We already have the bran and rice husks, Su Yuan said. They consumed a lot of poultry for their cooked food business. Currently, they bought from the farmer's market and through middlemen in the countryside, but the quality was unstable, so it was better to raise their own. After confirming everything was fine, the siblings locked up and returned. In the evening, Su Yuan found a train to move the grain to Su Mo's flat near the village. With so much grain at the dock, it wasn't safe. With the grain situation settled, Su Mo began preparing for home. First, she took the 2 children to a department store, bought them new clothes, plenty of school supplies, and a stack of newly published children's books. She even bought a new twin-tub washing machine for 240 yuan. After returning, Su Mo taught the kids how to use it, so they could just toss their dirty clothes in the machine every day without needing to do it by hand. Once all this was done, Su Mo was almost ready to leave. This time, the country selected 3,000 outstanding individuals from various fields to be sent abroad for study in batches over 6 months. The first group left in early September for Western European countries. The government placed great importance on this overseas study program. Even with a shortage of foreign exchange reserves, they still approved a standard of $5,000 per person. While $5,000 seemed like a lot, after deducting tuition and accommodation fees, the amount left for living expenses wasn't much. Additionally, to better showcase the country's spirit, each person would receive an extra 700 yuan for clothing expenses before departure, allowing them to buy decent clothes. After all, they represented the country, and if they dressed too poorly, it would reflect badly on the nation. After receiving the clothing allowance, Su Mo went to the friendship store to buy a wool coat and 2 brightly colored skirts that were currently in fashion from Su Qifa. Her clothes were already of good style and quality, so she didn't need to buy much more. She would take a few sets for change and buy the rest in Germany. Su Mo was set to leave for the capital on August 20th, and on the 19th, the family gathered for a meal. After dinner, Su Tingda handed Su Mo a thick envelope filled with colorful bills and a small bag containing a few small yellow fish and 7 or 8 diamonds. This money was prepared by your grandfather a long time ago, but after 20 or 30 years, who knows if it will still be useful. Take it with you. If you can use it, great. If not, just forget it. Keep the yellow fish and diamonds. Gold is a hard currency that can be used anywhere. When you get to Germany, find a place to exchange it. Your second brother says diamonds are quite valuable now, so you can exchange those too. Uncle, there's no need. I have enough money prepared here, she replied. She had 2 boxes of various currencies in her space, so she could always find something to use. If not, she had plenty of gold on hand.
Take it.
This is a reward from your uncle. Although studying abroad isn't new for our family, you're the first of your generation to go, so it's a matter of pride. Su Mo. Uncle, your praise sounds a bit strange. The money the country gives you is just enough for basic needs. If you want to buy anything else, you'll need your own money. Out there, having enough money gives you confidence. Keep this with you. Don't end up short when you want to buy gifts for your uncle when you return, Su Tingde joked. Just accept what your uncle gives you, Su Tingqian added. All right, I'll take it. Thank you, uncle. If she didn't spend it, she could always return it later. Su Tingqian also pulled out an envelope, saying, Dad arranged for you to exchange 3,000 marks. When you get there, spend it as needed. Although the country currently didn't allow private foreign exchange, it was still possible to find connections in Yang City to exchange money. The current exchange rate was about 1 mark for 2 yuan, meaning Su Tingqian spent 6,000 yuan for the 3,000 marks. Thanks, Dad. Su Tingqian had studied in England when he was younger and had traveled to many places in Europe, so he reminded her of some important things to pay attention to. Late at night, Lu Chongjing returned. He had rushed back, looking worn out with bloodshot eyes, probably having not rested for several days. Su Mo was surprised to see him. Why are you back? You're going abroad, so I had to come back to see you off. After putting down his things, Lu Chongjing took a quick shower and returned to hug Su Mo, saying reluctantly, Wife, you haven't even left yet. During the training period, Geng Chongqing and Yi Wenbin visited Su Mo. The two encouraged Su Mo and shared some recent plans of the country, suggesting that she take the opportunity to study abroad and seize any chances that arise.
Sumo listened carefully.
Although some things were ahead of their historical timeline, the general direction remained unchanged. By the time she returned from studying abroad, the country would have undergone reform and opening up. At that time, Huaguo would enter a period of rapid development, a flourishing era. When they left, Geng Chongqing handed Su Mo an envelope containing 1,000 marks. The marks were in 100 denominations, 10 thin bills in the envelope. Su Mo didn't notice at first, and by the time she realized what was inside, the two had already walked away. If she hadn't read the diary, Su Mo might have felt less burdened. Now, she felt a heavy sense of guilt. She couldn't shake the feeling of being a bad person while pretending not to know anything. God, please send a perfect aunt to take care of Uncle Geng. He is such a good person and deserves a happy relationship. On September 4th, over 70 students headed to Western Europe boarded a flight from Beijing to Paris. After a long flight, they arrived in Paris, where a counselor from the embassy came to pick them up. The clothing styles in China were limited, so the students, using their allowance, bought similar outfits: a suit, a Zhongshan suit, and a wool coat, all in black. As a result, when the group emerged, dressed in similar colors and styles, they looked quite odd to the fashionable Parisians, drawing many curious glances. If it weren't for their demeanor, people might have thought the Italian mafia had come to Paris. Arriving in a new environment with living conditions much better than in China, they saw cars everywhere, shops at the airport, and brightly dressed people with styles they had never seen before. Even though they had undergone training before leaving, many students still felt uneasy. Seeing her anxious peers on the bus, Su Mo sighed inwardly. All of them were top students in China, carefully selected for this first overseas mission. Most came from good families and were used to quality things. If they felt this way, one could only imagine how others felt. National confidence is truly important. It took decades for the country to help its people stand tall when facing developed Western nations. The group rested in Paris for a day before departing for their respective destinations. The 28 students heading to Germany flew to Bonn, the capital of West Germany, the next afternoon. They would undergo a second round of training there. The 10 German language exchange students began attending their exchange schools the day after arriving in Bonn. The remaining 18 students would attend a language school in Bonn for 3 months to ensure they could understand their teachers. Su Mo, Pei Minghui, and a female student named Xiao Huaqing were assigned to Munich University. Xiao Huaqing was a student from Beijing Language Institute, majoring in German. Like Pei Minghui, she had family members working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Munich University, founded in 1472, is one of Germany's most prestigious universities and also the alma mater of Mr. Felix. He had to return for a matter, so he took the 3 of them, while the other 7 were escorted by embassy staff. Gu Wangting stayed in Bonn to arrange for the 18 students to attend language school. Before the 10 exchange students left, Each received 200 marks for living expenses from Guangdong. At that time, the average salary for workers in West Germany was around 1,000 marks. The 200 marks were not much, barely enough for 3 meals a day, and that was for the cheapest options. However, the country had done its best to provide, as 200 marks converted to 400 yuan. In China, 400 yuan a month was a salary reserved for top leaders. The embassy staff had already communicated with Munich University about the exchange program, so upon arrival, they were met by designated representatives. Munich University had arranged for 2 Chinese students, a male named Song Pingji and a female named Yi Jiyu, both third-year students, to welcome them. They took the 3 to their accommodations. Since classes hadn't started yet, the school arranged a 3-bedroom apartment for them, and once classes began, they would move into student dorms. You all should rest today. Tomorrow, Yi Jiyu and I will come by to help you get familiar with the school. There are also 2 students going to China as exchange students who will meet with you in a few days to discuss the situation back home, Song Pingji said. He then handed Pei Minghui a folded piece of paper. This is the phone number for Yi Jiyu and me. If you need anything, just call us and we'll come right away. We'll take our leave now and let you rest, they said politely before leaving. Once they were gone, Qiao Huaqing sighed in relief and sank onto the sofa, feeling exhausted. Though she had prepared herself, the past few days of travel and new experiences had overwhelmed her. If it weren't for her determination to uphold her country's honor, she might have collapsed. Seeing Qiao Huaqing looking unwell, Su Imo asked with concern, "Huaqing, are you okay?" Qiao Huaqing waved her hand. "I'm fine, just a bit tired. You 2 can choose your rooms first. Leave the last one for me." Pei Minghui looked at the 3 rooms and, being a gentleman, chose the smallest one with less light, leaving the larger, brighter rooms for the 2 ladies. Noticing Pei Minghui had already gone into his room to unpack, Su Imo randomly picked a room, took out her clothes, and organized her things. When she finished and came out, she saw Qiao Huaqing still lying on the sofa, so she went over to help her up and assist with her luggage. Qiao Huaqing was a fresh graduate, only 19 years old, making her the youngest among the 28 students. Su Imo paid extra attention to her. At this age, living in such a time, and being abroad for the first time, it was natural for her to feel anxious. "Sister Su, aren't you nervous?" Su Imo shook her head. "Not really. I worked at the Foreign Trade Center before, and during trade fairs I interacted with many foreign businessmen, so I have some understanding of this place. I envy you. I've only heard my grandfather talk about it. This is my first time so far from home, and I'm having a hard time adjusting. I didn't realize how different our country is from here until I arrived." Qiao Huaqing's voice trailed off. Everywhere she looked, there were tall buildings and cars that were rare back home. The streets were filled with well-dressed people. She felt like a country bumpkin in the city. "It's okay. Distance means we can catch up. You have to believe in our country. We Chinese are the hardest working and most resilient people. One day, we will catch up and even surpass them. In 30 years, fortunes can change. Decades later, our country's prosperity will be unimaginable to them. The country is sending us out now to learn from the advanced places. Once we've learned, we will return to serve our country. As long as there are determined individuals leading the way, the country will continue to improve." Su Imo played the role of the caring older sister, encouraging her to stay grounded and not be dazzled by the allure of capitalism. After listening, Qiao Huaqing nodded seriously. "Sister Su, you're right. We need to face the facts. Our country is indeed behind others right now, but as long as we work hard, we will catch up one day. Don't worry, Sister Su. I, Qiao Huaqing, will contribute my part along the way." Seeing the young girl regain her spirit, Su Imo didn't say more. After helping her finish packing, she returned to her room for a short rest. She was also tired from adjusting to the time difference. In the evening, the dorm phone rang. Pei Minghui answered, and soon knocked on Su Mo's door, saying Mr. Felix had called and asked them to prepare for dinner. About half an hour later, Felix arrived and took the 3 to a German restaurant not far from the school. Felix handed them the menu and let them order what they wanted. After looking at the prices, Qiao Huaqing felt a bit dazed. How could the food here be so expensive? Each dish was around 8 or 9 marks. With only 200 marks for living expenses each month, they could only spend 6 or 7 marks a day. At this rate, wouldn't they only be able to eat one meal a day? When she left home, her grandfather had given her an extra 1,000 marks. She thought that would be enough for a comfortable life, but now it seemed that without that extra money, she would have gone hungry. Seeing her expression, Felix, usually serious, softened a bit and said, "Order whatever you want. This meal is on me, and welcome to Germany." Suemo glanced at the menu and said, "Teacher, I'm new here and don't know what's special. Could you recommend something?" Pei Minghui and Xiao Huaqing quickly agreed, asking Felix to help them order. In the end, Felix ordered a bottle of apple cider, a butcher's platter, a roasted shoulder blade, a steak, and a German sausage, all served with sauerkraut and mashed potatoes, very traditional German cuisine. Although after finishing their meal, Pei Minghui and Xiao Huaqing visibly relaxed, realizing they didn't have to worry about basic needs anymore. They were there to study, not to indulge, so it was enough to have enough food to fill their stomachs. After visiting the cafeteria, they decided to go to a buffet. At the buffet, each person paid 3 marks, and the staff handed them a plate, allowing them to choose whatever they wanted from the self-service area. They could take as much as they wanted as long as they didn't waste food. The staff member knew Song Pingji, and after Suemo and the others got their food, the two chatted for a while. The affordable buffet offered over 20 types of food, mainly bread, potatoes, mashed potatoes, corn, and vegetables, with only chicken nuggets, sausages, and bacon as meat options. Since they arrived early, the food was plentiful. Each person took what they needed. Suemo got a chicken nugget, a sausage, a few slices of bacon, a scoop of mashed potatoes, and a scoop of corn. Suemo didn't take any bread because German bread is known for being hard, which she wasn't used to. She had seen a joke online about a new student in Germany who bought a loaf of bread but didn't have it sliced in the store. When he tried to cut it at home, he broke his knife. Seeing Xiao Huaqing trying to grab 2 pieces of bread, Suemo quietly warned her, "Huaqing, the bread here is really hard. Just take one to try. If you like it, you can get more later." "Really?" Xiao Huaqing was surprised, thinking all bread was soft. But she listened and only took one. While eating, Xiao Huaqing struggled to stab the bread with her knife and fork for a long time before realizing how hard it was. "Su Jia, how did you know this bread is hard?" Xiao Huaqing asked quietly. "My dad came to Germany before and he told me." Suemo made an excuse. "What should I do now? I can't cut it with this knife and fork, and my teeth aren't any harder," Xiao Huaqing said, feeling frustrated. She had eaten bread in Bonn but had never encountered anything this hard. "Just use the knife to cut it into thin slices, then get some vegetable soup to dip it in," Suemo suggested. Xiao Huaqing struggled to cut the large piece of bread into several slices, then got 2 scoops of thick vegetable soup to dip it in. She was really glad she listened to Sumo's advice. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to finish 2 pieces. Yiji watched from the side. She wanted to remind Xiao Huaqing but worried about hurting her feelings. She was relieved when Suemo provided the solution. It seemed not everyone from the mainland was naive. There were knowledgeable people too. "This kind of bread is harder and locals in Germany love it, but we Chinese usually can't handle it well. It doesn't suit our taste," Yiji said. "Exactly, it's really hard. I can't get used to it either," Xiao Huaqing replied. "You can spread some butter on it and add some pickles, then top it with bacon or ham. It will taste much better," Yiji shared. "Great. Thank you. I'll try that next time," Xiao Huaqing thanked her. After that, they quietly continued their meal. Soon, Song Pingji returned with his food. "Sorry, I was chatting with a classmate," Song Pingji said.
Hey?
"Is that your classmate?"
Pei Minghui asked, surprised.
"Yes, he's working part-time here to earn some living expenses," Song Pingji explained. Realizing they might not understand what part-time work meant, he elaborated. Pei Minghui became interested and wanted to ask how to apply for such a job, but then he remembered that the government spent a lot of money sending them there to learn knowledge and advanced experiences, not to earn money. It was better to focus on studying during their limited time, so he dropped the thought. After lunch, the three returned to their dorm to rest. At 2 in the afternoon, Song Pingji and Yi Jiu took them on a campus tour. On the 5th day, the two students who were going to China as exchange students arrived at the school. The school arranged for both sides to meet so the students could learn about China. At that time, China had not officially opened its doors, and in the eyes of foreigners, it was a symbol of mystery, chaos, backwardness, and poverty. Female students generally hesitated to go, so the two exchange students sent to Munich University were both male, named Paul and David. Upon seeing the three, the two were clearly shocked and surprised. During their training, the teacher had shown them many photos and documentaries of China where people wore dull clothes and appeared stiff and expressionless. However, the three before them were dressed in well-fitting suits, and the two ladies wore elegant dresses. Especially the leading lady, with her fair skin and graceful demeanor, was no less impressive than German movie stars. This was completely different from what they had learned about China. The two exchanged glances and suddenly understood that every place has its elite. Perhaps these three were the nobility of China. "Hello, welcome to Germany. We are very happy to meet you," they greeted in awkward Mandarin.
Thank you.
"We are also very happy to meet you and hope you have a pleasant year in China," Su Mo replied. Among the three, Su Mo was the oldest and had previously interacted with many foreign businessmen at the Foreign Trade Center, so Pei Minghui and Qiao Huaqing let her take the lead in the conversation. After Paul and David sat down, recalling what their teacher had said, they awkwardly asked, "Could you please introduce your country to us? We have very little information about it." The teacher mentioned that your country has gone through a special period, so if there are any taboos, please let us know what we shouldn't say or do, they added. Their training teacher had told them that China was a serious country, and one had to be careful with words and actions, otherwise they could end up in trouble. Of course, Su Mo said, and began to introduce her country. "Our country has emerged from the pain of war and is now focused on building itself. After decades, we have achieved stability and can now present ourselves to the world in a new light. Although we have gone through a special period, China is essentially a warm, friendly, and hospitable country. We always extend our sincerest hospitality to foreign friends visiting our country. Our country has a long history, vast territory, beautiful scenery, and warm-hearted people. While in China, you can explore our stunning landscapes, taste our delicious food, and experience our rich cultural traditions. China has 56 ethnic groups, each with its own unique characteristics." Paul and David didn't understand much Chinese, so Su Mo spoke in German. Through her narration, they learned about a China that was completely different from what their teacher had described. If before they felt forced to spend a year in a poor country due to their studies, now they genuinely wanted to go. They wanted to walk along the magnificent Great Wall, learn about the palaces of ancient Chinese emperors, and see the majestic and breathtaking Huangshan. They wanted to taste the delicious roast duck that Kira had mentioned, try Buddha jumps over the wall, eat dompa pork, and sample lamb soup. Just thinking about it made their mouths water. They wished they could go to China tomorrow. Not only Paul and David, but Pei Minghui and Qiao Huaqing also felt a sense of pride. It turned out their country was so wonderful, and they had overlooked it. Once the conversation started, Paul and David became less formal and began to ask Su Mo some of their curiosities. "Kira, do all Chinese people know martial arts?" Paul asked. Thanks to the popularity of Bruce Lee's movies, many foreigners believed that all Chinese people practiced martial arts. Paul and David had watched many films about China in preparation for their exchange. "Well, there are many people in China who practice martial arts, but not everyone does. Martial arts is just one term for Chinese martial arts," Su Mo explained. Chinese martial arts have a long history, rich content, and profound depth. From the wrestling of the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties to the boxing techniques of the Southern and Northern dynasties, and then to the wrestling styles of the Song and Yuan dynasties, it has evolved into various forms of martial arts and kung fu today. Chinese martial arts emphasize the higher purpose of martial arts, which is to bring peace to the world. The middle level focuses on self-cultivation and mental well-being, and the lower level emphasizes skills for self-defense. Today, there are styles like Wing Chun, Bajikwan, Yihikwan, Sanda, wrestling, and Shaolin's 12 routes of kicking. Su Imo spoke eloquently, captivating Paul and David. She knew so much because the two little ones had learned martial arts from Commander Su, who had shared this information with them, and Lele had relayed it to Su Imo. Su Imo wasn't trying to show off. There wasn't much in contemporary China worth boasting about. However, first impressions are important. If someone approaches a new place with a negative mindset, they will find many upon realizing she had not gotten into serious trouble. Su Imo let out a sigh of relief. She certainly did not want to end up in a fight. Unbeknownst to Su Imo, their actions had caught the attention of someone in a nearby apartment building. Although she had only kicked twice, her swift and clean movements piqued the person's interest. After returning to the dormitory, Qiao Huaqing immediately hugged Su Imo and exclaimed, "Sister Su, you are amazing. I declare you are now the person I admire the most. I want to learn from you and follow your example." At first, Bale and David looked at us with disdain. But when we left just now, their eyes were filled with respect. "Sister Su, you really made us proud. The law of the jungle applies here too. In international matters, citizens of strong countries often feel a natural superiority over those from weaker nations. This pride comes from the country. Although our nation has a glorious history, we are currently not as advanced as others. Our leaders recognize this, which is why they sent us here to learn." Seizing the opportunity, Su Imo began to instill patriotic values in the two of them. After all, when she came here, Teacher Gu had asked her to keep an eye on them and occasionally guide their thoughts, to prevent them from being corrupted by the luxurious lifestyle of capitalism. If they completed their studies and did not return home, it would be problematic. We have a duty to our country. We must study hard and bring back advanced ideas and knowledge to contribute to building a better nation so that one day, our people can also hold their heads high in front of others. I believe that through our collective efforts, our country will one day have more cars, taller buildings, more magnificent airports, and a more prosperous life than here. Qiao Huaqing was inspired by Su Mo's words and nodded vigorously. "Don't worry, Sister Su, I will. I'm going to study right now and won't waste a second." With that, Qiao Huaqing returned to his room to study the professional books he had borrowed from the library. After Su Imo and the others arrived, they chose different fields of study. Su Imo opted for business economics, Pei Minghui chose automotive engineering, and Qiao Huaqing selected sociology. Seeing Qiao Huaqing go back to study, Pei Minghui followed him. Su Mo's performance today had exceeded his expectations. He knew she held a significant position at the Foreign Trade Center, but did not expect her to shine so brightly. He realized he had a long way to go and needed to work harder. In the following days, the three continued to read relevant professional books in the library. They had already decided on their fields before coming abroad and had self-studied some related materials back home. However, the teaching methods in the two countries differed significantly, and they would need to catch up on those differences after class. Teacher Felix had connections and arranged for them to have a teacher available for questions every 3 days for a morning session. The three of them maintained a routine of going between the dormitory, cafeteria, and library, and this continued for over half a month until the end of September. As October approached, students began returning to campus. They were assigned to study with second-year students. To help them integrate better, the school decided not to let the three of them stay together, but instead mix them with local students in the same field. Su Mo's roommates had already been informed that a Chinese exchange student would be living with them. The three arrived early at the dormitory, and when Su Imo came, they even prepared a small welcome ceremony for her. The three roommates were named Hannah, Mia, and Nyla. All three had typical German features, defined facial contours, big eyes, high noses, and were all quite tall, each over 170 centimeters. Fortunately, Su Imo was all China, which had not yet opened up, had very few interactions with other countries. Many people only knew that such a country existed but were unaware of the details, viewing it as a mysterious land. Now that an exchange student had arrived, The three asked Su Mo many questions, and she earnestly introduced her country, doing her best to promote it. Su Mo was articulate and had solid historical knowledge, and before she knew it, she had talked for an entire morning. Her presentation left a deep impression on the three, and now, whenever they thought of Asian countries, their first response was China, not Japan. At noon, the four of them went to an €8 buffet restaurant to celebrate Su Mo's arrival as their new roommate. In the afternoon, everyone went their separate ways. Later that day, Teacher Gu came from Bonn to give Su Mo and the others their living expenses for the next month and help them open a bank account, ensuring their funds would be deposited on time. He also brought good news. Someone from the embassy would be returning to China next month and offered to take their letters home, helping them send messages to their families. Since there are no direct flights between Germany and China, sending letters back home was quite troublesome. They had to go through other countries, making it easy for letters to get lost and taking a long time. After arriving in Germany, they had only reported their safety to Beijing through the embassy and had not contacted their families directly. Naturally, they were thrilled to be able to write letters, and they quickly composed thick envelopes to send with Teacher Gu. Before they knew it, school had started, and the three were immersed in their busy studies. However, they agreed to have dinner together every 3 days to share their learning experiences and discuss any difficulties they faced. Although they had studied German for 2 years back home, they still encountered many professional terms they did not understand. Besides overcoming language barriers, they also had to tackle specialized knowledge. Fortunately, West Germany had implemented a 2-day weekend since 1963, and the university schedule was not as packed as in their home country, with classes typically only half a day. They could use the weekends and free time to catch up on what they missed. The three of them studied diligently, waking up early and staying up late. Su Mo's roommates admired her dedication, especially seeing her read even while eating, which elevated their perception of the hardworking nature of Chinese people. By the end of October, Song Pingji came to find Su Mo and informed her about a gathering for Chinese people on Sunday. Everyone was eager to meet the students from home and hoped they would attend. He asked Su Mo to inform the other two. Su Mo came here not only to gain knowledge, but also to expand her network, so she readily agreed. However, she made it clear that she would attend, but she could not guarantee the same for the other two. During their dinner, Su Mo mentioned the gathering, and Pei Minghui and Xiao Huaqing were also interested in meeting some Chinese friends abroad, so they happily agreed to join. The gathering was held in a large commercial area a few bus stops away from the school, and a restaurant had been reserved. By the time the three arrived, many people were already there, with men in suits and women in elegant dresses, giving off a formal vibe. In late October, the average temperature in Munich ranged from 5 to 13 degrees Celsius, and it was quite chilly, so all three wore wool coats when they went out. As soon as they entered, they attracted a lot of attention. Song Pingji had been waiting and quickly approached them. After the waiter helped them hang up their coats, Song Pingji introduced them to everyone. These attendees included immigrants to Germany, students from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Australia, as well as those who had moved to other countries for their studies. In short, there were no locals. This intrigued Su Mo and the others. Although everyone greeted them warmly, the glances they received were mostly curious. Some from Taiwan even seemed a bit provocative, as they were still dreaming of reclaiming their territory. Xiao Huaqing, being younger, felt nervous under so many gazes and closely followed Su Mo, trying hard to maintain his composure and not embarrass his country. After the introductions, Song Pingji took Pei Minghui to chat with the men, while Su Mo and Xiao Huaqing were surrounded by a group of women asking various questions. Most inquiries were about the current situation in their home country, with some wanting to know about their relatives and whether there were any ways to contact them. Many were curious about when they could return to visit family. Su Mo and Xiao Huaqing answered the questions they could, while directing them to follow news reports for policy-related queries. They also hinted that the country was considering reforms, suggesting that these matters would likely be resolved soon. Many attendees were eager to hear from Su Mo and the others, as it had been difficult to gather information about the situation back home in recent years. Although a few students had come to West Germany after diplomatic relations were established in 1972, those earlier students were under strict supervision by the embassy and did not have the same freedom as Su Mo and her peers. The three spent the entire afternoon answering questions, leaving them quite parched. Finally, after satisfying everyone's curiosity, Su Mo seized the opportunity to grab a snack. As she walked toward the dessert table, she caught sight of two tall men after leaving the restaurant. Song Jinji said to Su Jing with interest, "Your cousin is much better than that fake from your family." Seeing Song Jinji's expression, Su Jing quickly interrupted, "Don't get any ideas about her. My cousin is married with kids who are 6 or 7 years old. Her husband is a soldier in Huagua, so you can't just mess with her." Song Jinji was surprised. People are getting married so early over there now. She did marry early, but she seems to be 27 years old. She just looks young because she's attractive. Song Jinji gasped, "Is her husband a warlord? How else could he marry such a beauty?"
Shujin.
What era are we in? Warlords are long gone. Jinji, if you really want to take this opportunity to develop in the domestic market, you should take some time to learn more about the situation there. The Song family left the country early, when warlords still existed. Song Jinji was born here and had never returned, so his understanding of the domestic situation came from the older generation and what Su Jing occasionally mentioned. The Song family no longer had direct relatives in the country and paid little attention to it, unlike Su Zhongqing and others, who left only before the founding of the country and still had a brother back home, keeping an eye on domestic affairs. Su Jing came this time because he heard about the upcoming reform and opening up in the country and wanted to discuss it with Song Jinji. He was very optimistic about the domestic market. With nearly 1 billion people, once it opened up to the world, it would be a huge consumer market. Additionally, wages were low and labor costs were cheap. Just about any business could be profitable, making it worth pursuing. Although the entry barriers were high, the Su family still had connections in the country and a relatively high social status, giving them an advantage over others. However, he had just taken over the family business from his grandfather, and there were many obstacles from his uncle's side. He couldn't mobilize much capital for the domestic market, which was why he sought out Song Jinji. He had heard that she wanted to lead the family in a new direction, and now was an opportunity. The Song family had been operating here for 70 to 80 years and had more financial resources than his family. Moreover, Song Jinji had strong control over the Song family. If he could convince her, they could mobilize a significant amount of funds. At that moment, Su Mo also came out, and the three of them decided to stop discussing this topic and went to find something to eat. Half an hour later, Song Jinji drove to a street. The environment of this street didn't look as good as near Su Mo's school, but it felt very familiar to Su Mo because all the shop signs were in Chinese. Su Mo exclaimed, "I didn't expect there to be a Chinatown here." Song Jinji was surprised. "Do you know about Chinatown?"
Shumoi Shujin.
Seeing the expressions on the Su siblings' faces, Song Jinji felt a bit embarrassed. He had underestimated them. Wherever there are Chinese people, there is a Chinatown. There are quite a few Chinese in Munich, over 20,000, Song Jinji added. Su Mo calmly nodded. That number was insignificant compared to the future population of 1.4 billion in China. This Chinatown, though not particularly long, had everything, with restaurants representing major Chinese cuisines. Song Jinji parked in front of a local cuisine restaurant, saying, "This place serves very authentic local dishes. My ancestors were imperial chefs, and my grandfather often comes here for a bite." The restaurant was uniquely decorated, showcasing the old coastal city style, and the staff were also Chinese, speaking fluent local dialect. Song Jinji booked a private room and ordered several signature dishes: braised pork, sweet and sour ribs, drunken chicken, stir-fried shrimp, squirrel fish, 8 treasure duck, and crab meat lion's head. After ordering, he handed the menu to Su Mo to see if she wanted to add anything. With 3 people ordering so many dishes, they probably wouldn't finish, so Su Mo didn't add anything, while Su Jing added a crab rose soup dumpling. The restaurant served the dishes quickly, and soon enough, they were brought out. These are the restaurant's signature dishes. Try them and see how they compare to those back home. Are they authentic? Song Jinji said to Suemo. Suemo tasted a few bites and honestly said they were better than what she had in China now, but compared to the future, they still fell short, possibly due to the ingredients. The same food grown in different places can taste different. They have a richer flavor than those in China, Suemo said. Life is still relatively poor there compared to here. People emphasize simplicity and do not advocate a luxurious lifestyle, so they prefer cooking in a way that is closer to the essence of the food. In simpler terms, they don't fuss too much. As long as it's cooked and edible, it's fine. Moreover, after a special period, chefs were hesitant to stand out, so the skills of chefs in state-run restaurants were generally average. Song Jinji looked at Suemo with a half-smile. His cousin was quite smooth in her speech and was a clever person. Once they had eaten most of the food, Su Jing finally opened up and started discussing matters. Xiaomo, I heard from my little uncle that the country is preparing for reform and opening up. What are your thoughts? Su Jing had never underestimated Suemo. Are you planning to invest back home, cousin? Yes, I have this idea. I'm optimistic about the domestic market. But since the various industries have been closed off for so long, it probably won't be easy at first. Do you have any suggestions? Suemo thought for a moment and replied, since the founding of the country, it has been a planned economy for decades. Transitioning to a market economy won't be easy. In the first few years, there will definitely be many obstacles. I don't recommend starting with a heavy hand. It should be gradual. The most pressing issue in the country right now is employment. A few years ago, a large number of educated youth went to the countryside, and this year they are gradually returning to the cities. Millions of unemployed youth are coming back, and if they don't find jobs, it will surely lead to social unrest. The country needs a lot of job opportunities for them. Cousin, you might consider starting with industries that can quickly provide a large number of jobs without needing a lot of investment, like subcontracting. This type of industry doesn't impact the main industrial sectors and can provide many jobs, so the government usually supports it. I suggest starting with investments in clothing and shoe factories. The costs are low, and the output is quick. Both domestic and foreign sales are possible, and the market is huge. The clothing wholesale industry in Yangcheng has thrived for decades. Moreover, most women in Huagua can sew, so hiring workers is easy. You just need to find a few skilled workers to train them, and they can get started in a few days. Huagua is vast and rich in resources, and land is still cheap. Renting a piece of land to build a factory won't cost much less than in other countries. Most importantly, labor costs in Huagua are very low. As far as I know, workers in German clothing factories earn about 800 to 1,000 marks a month, but in Huagua, you might only need to pay 50 marks. Song Jinji initially listened casually, but as he continued to hear, he became serious. He had thought Su Jing was just casually asking, considering someone from a place where business was not allowed wouldn't understand much. Now it seemed that Suemo was quite capable. The clothing factories here only make top brands, so the monthly salaries are naturally higher. Most clothing in Europe is subcontracted in Southeast Asia, which is also not expensive. The main issue is that the subcontracting industry there is mature, with regulations to follow. Moving it to Huagua means everything has to be restarted, which also adds to the cost, Song Jinji said. That can't be helped. It's a necessary step. But once it's established, the returns will be huge. Although labor costs in Southeast Asia are not high, they are still 3 to 4 times higher than in Huagua. However, that's not the main issue. From what Mr. Song says, there should be a corresponding subcontracting industry there as well. If that's the case, you must have noticed that their labor force is insufficient, production scale is limited, and labor costs are increasing year by year. Southeast Asian countries are small with few people. Combined, their population is probably just enough for 1/3 of Huagua. Huagua has nearly 1 billion people, providing ample labor. For labor-intensive industries like this, no other country is more suitable than Huagua. Currently, the people in the country haven't seen much. Starting with labor-intensive industries will open their eyes, and then they can upgrade to technology-intensive industries. This is a necessary stage for national development. Right now, they can't handle technology-intensive industries because the cultural level of the people isn't there yet. Anything else? Song Jinji encouraged Su Mo to continue. He knew little about the domestic situation and couldn't offer any opinions. Real estate is another direction to consider. Building commercial housing, Su Mo said. Currently, housing issues in major cities are very severe. Many families live in small apartments with dozens of people. But I heard from a Jing that houses in your country are allocated by the in that environment. My cousin marrying a soldier is considered a high marriage. It's hard for us to understand, but that was the situation back then, Su Jing said, with a hint of sarcasm in her tone. What about now? How much has the situation improved?
Things are much better now.
The new leaders are very visionary. I have high hopes for the potential of the Chinese market. By the way, is there a gathering in London next Saturday? Su Jing asked. Yes, are you planning to attend? Is there still an invitation? Since I'm here, I'd like to experience it if I have the chance. This gathering is actually a banquet with certain requirements. Only well-known Chinese merchants from Western Europe are qualified to attend. Sure, if you want to go, I'll get you an invitation, Song Jinji said casually. The Song family received several invitations, so it would be easy to give one to Su Jing. Is it possible to get an extra one? I want to bring Xiao Mo along. Song Jinji frowned slightly but replied, okay. It seems that Su Jing is quite optimistic about the Chinese market. Is she planning to pave the way by bringing Su Mo along? After returning to the hotel, Su Jing called Su Mo in her dormitory to tell her about the banquet in London next Saturday. Su Mo was somewhat tempted, but didn't dare to agree right away. After all, she would need to go abroad and would ask her teacher tomorrow if it was possible. The next morning, Su Mo called Gu Wangting to update him on the situation, including her dinner with Su Jing and Song Jinji the night before, and summarized their conversation. After listening, Gu Wangting thought for a while and said, "Go ahead, but be careful and write a report when you return." Sumo had previously worked at the Foreign Trade Center and knew many foreign merchants. This trip might allow her to meet some influential Chinese merchants. A few days ago, he spoke with his brother, who mentioned that policies were basically set and they would be announced after a meeting. When the country starts attracting investment, knowing those people could be helpful. His brother worked closely with the leaders, so he knew there was a lot of pressure to succeed. If the results were not good, the hard-won opportunities might be rejected by the hardliners. After getting a positive response, Su Mo called Su Jing to say she could attend. Xiao Mo, tell me your dress size, and I'll have someone prepare a dress for you. The banquet is quite formal, so everyday clothes won't do. Plus, it was their first appearance at such an important event, so they couldn't afford to lose face.
Okay.
Just as Su Mo was about to give her size, she paused and asked, "Cousin, do you have a qipao here? If it's convenient, could you prepare one for me?" "Sure, we have a skilled tailor here. I'll have someone come by at noon to take your measurements." To make a beautiful qipao, many measurements are needed. Su Jing's mother loved wearing qipaos, so he knew a bit about it. It would be better to have someone measure rather than rely on Su Mo to get it right. "Thanks for your trouble, cousin. I have some things to attend to and will go ahead, so I won't wait for you. On Saturday, I'll have Jinji arrange for someone to take you. You'll take an early flight to London. The auction is in the afternoon, and the banquet is in the evening." Su Jing briefly explained the schedule. Okay. Su Mo noted everything down. After the call, Su Mo went to class. At noon, someone indeed called her. After confirming her location, a very elegant middle-aged lady arrived within half an hour to take her measurements and brought fabric samples for her to choose from. It must be said that custom tailoring is different. Making a qipao requires measuring 36 different points. While measuring, Su Mo chatted with the lady and learned her surname was Chu, and she was a descendant of a famous qipao master. When choosing the fabric, Su Mo selected Song Jin with a pattern rich in Jiangnan style, following Ms. Chu's suggestion. Once everything was settled, Su Mo returned to her studies. Time always flies when studying, and soon it was Friday. In the evening, Song Jinji called her to say he had picked up the qipao, and someone would come to the school to pick her up at 7 a.m. the next morning, so she should prepare in advance. The next day, Sue Mo got ready early, packed what she needed, and waited at the school gate at the right time. In addition to the driver, there was a middle-aged man who introduced himself as the Song family's butler, who would take Sue Mo to London. The butler was very familiar with the airport and quickly guided Sue Mo onto the plane. In just over 2 hours, they arrived in London. They took a taxi to a well-known hotel where a room had already been booked. The butler escorted Sue Mo to her room. Before long, someone delivered the outfit she would wear. Besides the custom qipao, there was a white jade bracelet, a pair of white jade earrings, a pearl necklace, a jade hairpin, and matching shoes and a bag. The jewelry was of excellent quality. Although Sue Mo didn't know much about antiques, she could tell they were exquisite. Sue Mo had also prepared a matching jade hairpin, but seeing that Su Jing had everything ready, she quietly put her own away. At lunchtime, the butler brought in a stylist to do Sue Mo's makeup. Since Sue Mo had just come from her home country, she didn't want to appear overly extravagant. After discussing with the stylist, she opted for a simple hairstyle, pinning up her hair with a jade hairpin, and didn't wear the bracelet or earrings. Her custom qipao was long and came with a cape, so not wearing the accessories didn't matter. Around 2 p.m., Su Jing came to pick her up. When he saw her, he was almost blinded by her beauty. Although he knew Sue Mo was pretty, he didn't expect her to look so good in a qipao, almost like a rich flower from the Jiangnan water town. Thinking this, Su Jing felt something was missing. Upon closer inspection, he realized Sue Mo hadn't worn the jewelry he had prepared. "Why didn't you wear the jewelry? Don't you like it?" "It's not that. They're all lovely, but my situation doesn't suit wearing them." Thinking of the situation back home, Su Jing sighed. "I specifically prepared them to be low-key. They're actually not too flashy. But it's fine not to wear them. My sister is naturally charming, and she shines even without those trinkets." Sue Mo smiled. Her cousin knew how to say the right things. The auction started at 2:30 p.m. in the hotel's banquet hall. By the time the siblings arrived, many people were already there. Song Jinji was also present. Upon seeing the Su siblings, he introduced them to a few acquaintances. Sue Mo also ran into Mrs. Jones, a foreign merchant she had met at a previous exhibition, who had brought her chocolate before. Mrs. Jones's eyes widened when she saw Sue Mo. "Oh my gosh, Kira, is that you?" "Yes, it's me." "Long time no see, Mrs. Jones. I attended the exhibition again last year, but I heard you went to university. I thought you were studying in your country, but I didn't expect you to be in the UK. Mrs. Jones was very excited and handed Sue Mo a business card, inviting her to visit when she had time. "Mrs. Jones, actually, I'm in Germany." Sue Mo briefly explained her exchange program in Germany. Mrs. Jones looked disappointed. "Why did you go to Germany?" "It's much better to come to the UK. Our schools are far superior to those in Germany." Sue Mo smiled and listened without responding. She had chosen German for a reason. In the 30 years after the reform and opening up, the most aid to the Chinese economy came from Japan and Germany. For decades, Germany's industrial ties with China would be very close. Moreover, Germany is a strong industrial nation and a benchmark for manufacturing, excelling in electronics, aerospace, automotive, precision machinery, equipment manufacturing, and military industries. By building good connections and understanding the landscape, when the time is right, the Su family could penetrate this market. After chatting for a while, Mrs. Jones finally realized, "Since you're in Germany, how did you end up here?" "I came with my cousin." Sue Mo explained her trip with Su Jing to broaden her horizons and called him over to introduce him to Mrs. Jones. They didn't chat long before the auction was about to start, so everyone returned to their seats. Song Jinji whispered to Su Jing, "Mrs. Jones comes from a noble family, and her husband is also a nobleman. It's said she does business just to pass the time. Don't underestimate her business. She has a wide network. If she makes connections, many things can be simplified. If you plan to expand into Europe, you should build a good relationship with her." He also thought to himself that Sue Mo was lucky to make connections with Mrs. Jones back home. Su Jing nodded. It was important to build relationships, but he actually wanted to expand domestically. He just needed to find a way to convince the old man. Speaking of which, Mrs. Jones was quite a unique character. She came from a wealthy background and did business for fun, always acting on her whims. The next day, Su Jing and Su Mo went to the airport together. I won't see you off to Germany. Be careful on your way back and call me if you need anything. I previously said you could reach out to the Song family if you needed help, but after thinking it over, I believe it's best not to. The Song family is involved with a Chinese gang over there, and their business isn't entirely clean. It's better for you to avoid them. The situation back home is still uncertain, and getting involved with them might negatively affect you.
Okay. 주문하디.
She hadn't really planned to contact them anyway. They didn't have much of a connection. The old ties from the previous generation wouldn't last long. Moreover, they were sent by the government, and there was an embassy there. If anything happened, she could just reach out to them directly, without wasting personal connections. After returning to school, Su Mo wrote a detailed report that same day and sent it to Teacher Gu. The report mainly outlined the general situation of Chinese businesses in Europe, the industries they operated in, and her estimates of their asset statuses. She even noted who had strong feelings for the country and who might be willing to invest back home. When Gu Wangting received it and read through it, he couldn't help but exclaim, "No wonder Yi Wenbin thought so highly of Su Mo. She truly understood what the higher-ups wanted." Gu Wangting organized the relevant information and submitted a detailed report back home. While Su Mo and her peers were busy studying, changes were happening steadily back in the country. Major newspapers began reporting on how to improve economic efficiency through pig and chicken farming, as well as fruit tree planting, slowly spreading a warm breeze through society. It's worth noting that in many places, these topics were previously taboo and could lead to being accused of capitalist tendencies. At the same time, the famous #1 village in the world, Huaxi Village, was frequently in the news, with reports on the village's collective hardware processing factory. The village earned over 300,000 yuan that year, while surrounding villages struggled to make even 10,000 yuan. Moreover, the village's bank deposits had reached 1 million. This caused a nationwide stir. While other villages were still struggling to meet basic needs, Huaxi Village already had 1 million in savings. 1 million. What does that mean? Huaxi Village has just over 1,000 people and more than 100 households. If divided equally, each household would receive 6,000 to 7,000 yuan. That's a significant amount. This sparked widespread discussion, and industrial prosperity for villages quickly became a hot topic and a mainstream idea for the coming years. Many perceptive grassroots officials began to imitate this model, while some visionary villages that had secretly built factories stopped operating underground and started to come out into the open. Following Huaxi Village, other similar villages also emerged. Although their earnings couldn't compare to Huaxi, they still far exceeded those of other villages. People began to realize that there had been many pioneers in the country all along. However, these were previously too afraid to come forward and had to operate in secrecy. Now they were openly reported, and it seemed that the higher-ups had no intention of criticizing them. The winds of change were truly beginning to blow in the country. Meanwhile, leadership teams began visiting various countries to observe the differences between Huagua and others, learning how to attract investment. Changes at home were progressing steadily, and the overseas students were studying diligently, eager to return and contribute to their country. In early December, the 18 students studying language at the school in Bonn successfully graduated and reported to their target universities. Munich University, as the top school in West Germany, had the most exchange students, with a total of 6. Including Su Mo and her 2 companions, there were 9 Chinese students there. These 6 students had to wait for the spring semester to start. Like the others, they would first self-study to catch up on the basics for a while. Gu Wangting accompanied them and brought thick letters for Su Mo and her 2 friends. After 4 months, they finally received letters from home and eagerly opened them. Su Mo's envelope contained several sheets of paper with different handwriting, likely written by each family member. The first was from her 2 younger siblings, sharing their recent studies and training, assuring Su Mo that they were behaving well and that she shouldn't worry. They would wait for her to return. Next was a letter from Su Tingqian and his wife, discussing the family business. They mentioned that in October, they opened 2 more shops, bringing the total to 4 in Yangcheng and 3 in Haisher. The shops were doing well, allowing her to spend freely while abroad. They also mentioned that Liu Chongzheng had called home recently to report his safety, stating he was still on the front lines and couldn't return yet, as a war was about to break out. They also mentioned that Geng Chongqing would be transferred to Yangcheng in November. Finally, they said the studio had installed a phone and provided the number, mentioning that international long-distance lines might soon be available, allowing Su Mo to call home. Su Mo figured that once the policy was confirmed, it would likely be opened. If they were to reform and open up, they needed the necessary infrastructure. Otherwise, who would invest if communication was impossible? The last letter was from Su Yuan, filled with concern for Su Mo and business matters. Su Mo replied to each person and entrusted the letters to teacher Gu to send back. After familiarizing the 6 exchange students with the campus, everyone returned to their studies. On December 18, 1978, an important day, the 3rd plenary session of the 11th Central Committee officially approved the policy of internal reform and external opening, marking the beginning of building socialism with Chinese characteristics. The giant ship of Huagua was finally set to sail. At that time, the overseas students were also about to enjoy their first holiday. Western countries celebrate Christmas, and during this important holiday, schools typically give a 2-week break starting from the 18th. Local students returned home to reunite with their families, leaving the school quiet, with only the exchange students and a few others remaining. Only one cafeteria stayed open. Students from other countries went out to have fun, but the 9 students from Huagua continued their usual routine, coming and going early and late, almost living in the library. Felix couldn't stand it anymore and called them out on Christmas Eve, encouraging them to explore the bustling city and experience the festive atmosphere. After all, they were young and loved excitement. They hesitated to go out, fearing they would fall behind in their studies while others took a break, and they were also short on money. The 9 of them went to the liveliest street, and for everyone except Su Mo, it was their first time seeing the brightly lit decorations and the tall Christmas tree filled with gifts. The shops that were open played German Christmas songs, and street musicians sang folk songs, drawing a crowd that listened quietly. Everything was a new experience for them. Compared to the seriousness back home, this place felt so free and happy. Many felt a sense of shock, as if they didn't belong here, and they inexplicably felt uneasy and out of place. Su Mo and Xiao Huaqing walked hand in hand and quickly noticed her low spirits. She quietly asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I'm just a bit sad." Xiao Huaqing shook her head but couldn't help asking after moments, "Sister Su, when do you think our country's people will be able to live like this?" "In 10 to 20 years, Su Mo replied. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, life in most cities had changed significantly. "Really?" Xiao Huaqing sounded uncertain. Xiao Huaqing chose sociology and had learned a lot about the welfare economy in Western countries during this time. The more she learned, the more daunting the road ahead seemed. Currently, workers in the country were happy to earn 40 to 50 yuan a month. But in most Western countries, workers earned over 1,000 yuan a month, and in the US, it reached 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. In just 1 month, they earned what others made in a year. In the country, having a television at home was considered impressive. But here, nearly every household had a television, phone, refrigerator, and washing machine. Recently, she even asked a student working part-time at a buffet about their hourly wage, which was 2 marks. Working 4 hours 3 days a week, they could earn at least 96 marks a month. Just from part-time work, their income was higher than that of most workers back home. With such a vast gap, could they really catch up and surpass them? As Xiao Huaqing pondered this, she voiced her doubts. Western countries have developed decades earlier than us, so it's not easy to surpass them. There are no quick fixes in this world. But we can't let the gap discourage us. The more we hesitate, the wider the gap will become. Our leaders are wise people, and they understand these issues. We need to have faith in them, believing they will lead us down a prosperous path. Our country is poor because we didn't develop economically before. Once we open up, the growth rate will be astonishing. With nearly 1 billion people, if we all work together, our productivity will be incredible. In just a few decades, we could catch up. Sister Sue, do you really have that much confidence? Of course. Sue Mo nodded, knowing from her future knowledge that they would succeed. Seeing Sue Mo's confident demeanor, Xiao Huaqing silently criticized herself for not being positive enough. Why did she feel discouraged when faced with challenges? During the difficult in the last 2 months of studying abroad, Sue Mo left the classroom and interned at a well-known local company to learn their advanced management methods, gaining a lot of valuable experience. Time flew by, and soon it was the end of August, the time for the 10 exchange students to return home. Out of the 10 exchange students, only 6 returned, while the remaining 4 felt they hadn't learned enough. After applying to their country, they decided to stay another year to continue their studies and return with the next group of students. Among them was Pei Minghui. Now, the 2 countries had direct flights, so there was no need to transfer in Paris. Everyone flew directly from Bonn to Beijing. After a long flight of over 10 hours, they arrived in Beijing. As they passed the new terminal building, a few of them went inside to take a look. They saw some people painting murals, vibrant and colorful, completely different from the murals back home. They stopped to watch. Sue Mo remembered that there had been a controversial mural at the capital airport, which featured several nude women. She wondered if this was the same one. Water Splashing Festival, a celebration of life at that moment. An artist noticed them standing outside and came over to ask if they needed anything. Gu Wangting smiled and said, "These are exchange students returning from Germany. We heard about the reforms back home and stopped to see your mural." "You all paint beautifully," Gu Wangting remarked. "This is what murals should look like." China's thousands of years of culture should not be forgotten, though he didn't mention his thoughts on the murals behind them. "Yes, everything is getting better with the reforms," the artist replied with a bright smile. "How does our mural compare to those outside?" One wall was nearly finished, showing a rough idea of the final result. They said Europe was an art paradise, and now that these students had just returned from Europe, they could give their opinion. "Very good. It is just as impressive as the outside," Gu Wangting confirmed. Hearing this, the artist smiled and went back to painting. The group watched for a while longer before leaving. At that point, Sue Mo was sure this was the controversial mural. It was said that after it was completed, it faced a lot of criticism, and the airport had to put up a false wall to cover it, which remained for 10 years. The group first went to a guest house to rest for a night to adjust to the time difference. The next day, they reported on their year of study to the relevant departments. Afterward, they shared their experiences and important tips with a new group of students preparing to go abroad. That morning, Sue Mo was busy writing her final summary at the guest house. Once she submitted it, she could return to Yangcheng. While she was writing, she heard a knock on the door and recognized Lu Xiaolan's voice. Surprised, Sue Mo opened the door and said, "Xiaolan Jicheng, how did you know I was here?" "Third sister-in-law, you're finally back," they both exclaimed. Seeing Lu Xiaolan's noticeable baby bump, Sue Mo quickly let them in. "I called my godfather yesterday, and he told me you were here. Xiaolan has been wanting to see you for a long time and insisted on coming over," Ding Jicheng explained. After returning, Sue Mo had called both Yangcheng and Lu family village to inform them of her return. "Third sister-in-law, you're already in Beijing. Why didn't you contact me?" It had been a year since she last spoke with her sister-in-law, and she missed her dearly. If Jicheng hadn't mentioned that she was here, she would have returned to Yangcheng without knowing how long it would be until they met again. "I heard from my mother that you were assigned to teach in Tang City, so I thought you were there," Lu Xiaolan said. Lu Xiaolan graduated from a vocational school in July and managed to get a job as a Chinese teacher at a high school in Tang City. "School hasn't started yet, so I came to Beijing to stay for a while. I'll head to Tang City in a few days," Lu Xiaolan explained. "You shouldn't be wandering around so much now that you're pregnant. How are you feeling? Is it hard?" Sue Mo asked. Lu Xiaolan was nearly 5 months pregnant, and Sue Mo had learned about it from Li Yue during her phone call. Lu Xiaolan's pregnancy made Li Yue very happy, and it was clear that anyone could have children now. Lu Xiaolan smiled, her face glowing with maternal pride. The baby is very good and not troublesome.
Still, you need to take care of yourself.
Yes, I told her to stay in Tang City, and I would visit her whenever I had time, but she insisted on coming here to suffer with me, Ding Ziqing sweetly complained. Hey, aren't you in a hurry to get to the construction site? Go on, don't interrupt my chat with my sister-in-law, Lu Xiaolan said, eager for him to leave. Ding Ziqing was starting his senior year in September, studying architecture, and it was the time when he needed to frequently visit construction sites. After the reforms, many places in Beijing began construction, making his field of study very timely.
All right, I'll head out now.
You stay here with your sister-in-law. I'll come back to pick you up after work. Don't wander around by yourself, Ding Ziqing reminded her. Got it, hurry up, Lu Xiaolan teased. After saying a few more words to Su Mo, Ding Ziqing hurried off. Once he left, Su Mo teased Lu Xiaolan. This romantic sweetness is making me a bit jealous. You can't compare to you and third brother. Well, I've been away for a year, and third brother hasn't even written me a letter. I'm starting to forget what he looks like. Su Mo pretended to be upset. Although Lu Chongjing hadn't written to her, he had called her 3 or 4 times. Third sister-in-law, third brother didn't mean to. Earlier this year, there was a war with another country, and third brother has been on the front lines. He hasn't even returned home this year. Lu Xiaolan anxiously defended her brother. She didn't want any issues between them. I know, I'm not mad at him, Su Mo smiled. You sit for a bit while I finish the summary. I need to submit it soon. Okay, you focus on your work. Lu Xiaolan quickly moved aside to avoid interrupting her. Once Su Mo finished her summary, the two women began to chat. Lu Xiaolan asked Su Mo many questions about studying abroad, feeling a mix of admiration, pride, and envy, wondering if she would ever have a chance to go abroad and see the world. After asking about that, Lu Xiaolan shared news from home. I really didn't expect Guodong and AI Qin to be such good students. Since they started middle school, they've consistently ranked in the top 5 in their exams. In this last term, Guodong came in first in the whole school, and AI Qin came in third. My dad was so happy that he told me privately that our Lu family might soon have another college student. And that Li Chunchao is also doing well. I heard she was the top student in her first year. Third sister-in-law, you really picked the right person.
Sumo listened quietly, ekaneli askina question.
As they chatted, Su Mo thought of Lu Fengqin and asked if she had returned home yet, considering she had been in the military for 2 years and should have had some time off. Not yet. A couple of months ago, she called and said she was in a remote area. Mom said my sister-in-law wasn't too happy after being scolded by my brother and didn't dare to speak up. Lu Xiaolan replied with a pout.
Oh, right.
With the reforms and opening up, the credit station in the commune expanded, and my brother got a job there as a full-time employee. Mom said he earns 33 yuan a month.
Really?
Congratulations to my brother and sister-in-law on becoming a dual-income family, Su Mo said. Now, the eldest household has 2 working members, while the second household only has 1, which could lead to some tension in the future. Yes, but my second brother also got promoted to the workshop director at the processing plant, and his salary increased to 45 yuan. Su Mo thought, well, I was worried too soon. With this salary increase, it offsets quite a bit. Given the work points in Lejiakan, Lu Hohot could earn at least 12 yuan a month. Then Dad must be really happy. He might even drink a bit more, Su Mo laughed. Yes, he's very happy. What Lu Xiaolan didn't say was that she felt her older brother's promotions were likely due to the influence of their younger brother and sister-in-law. After all, their family had produced an officer and 2 college graduates, with a third brother promoted to commander and the sister-in-law studying abroad. She remarried a college graduate. The people in the commune weren't blind. They could see the family rising, and they would benefit from it. However, this was just her guess, and she didn't want to voice it. At noon, the 2 women went to a nearby state-run restaurant and ordered 2 dishes. Lu Xiaolan insisted on paying, saying she had started working and would earn 52 yuan a month starting next month. Su Mo felt a bit uneasy hearing this. A college graduate earning only 52 yuan a month, and judging by Lu Xiaolan's expression, She seemed quite satisfied with it. The country is still too poor. Fortunately, during this period, most people couldn't see the gap between us and other countries. Otherwise, many might lack the courage to move forward. After lunch, they went to a nearby department store. In the few days since Sue Mo returned, she had been busy writing reports and summaries, with no time to shop. It was a good opportunity to see the changes in Beijing after the reforms. Influenced by the Pierre Cardin fashion show in March, the department store had noticeably more ready-to-wear clothing, with brighter colors and trendier styles. Other than that, there didn't seem to be any major changes, but some old brands were quietly reviving, like Quanjude roast duck, which had reopened at Heapingman after being labeled as for olds. The two women shopped for the whole afternoon before returning to the guest house. In the evening, when Ding Jiqing came to pick them up, the three took a taxi to Quanjude and enjoyed a delicious roast duck meal. The next day, after confirming there were no other matters, Sue Mo packed her bags and headed to the airport to buy a ticket back to Yangcheng. After the reforms and the establishment of special economic zones, the flights between Beijing and Yangcheng increased, with one flight in the morning and another in the afternoon. After buying her ticket, Sue Mo called home from the airport to let them know she would be returning today. Sue Mo's flight was at 2:30 p.m., and it wasn't very crowded. Since aviation hadn't yet been privatized, there was no distinction between first class and economy. All seats were the same price, and she just had to sit according to her seat number. Once seated, she noticed a middle-aged man in a suit next to her, reading an all-English economics book. He looked somewhat familiar, so she glanced at him a bit longer. The man seemed to notice her gaze, looked up, and upon seeing Sue Mo, both showed surprise. "Mr. Hua, I didn't expect to see you here," Sue Mo smiled. This Mr. Hua was a well-known patriotic entrepreneur who, after the reforms were confirmed, brought $35 million to invest in the country the following month. "I didn't expect to see you, Miss Sue. What a coincidence. What brings you here?" "I was an exchange student in West Germany last year, and just returned." "That's great. Young people should travel more to see how big the world is. It gives you motivation," Mr. Hua said. Since they knew each other, they chatted the whole way. Through their conversation, Sue Mo learned that Mr. Hua was in Beijing to find relevant departments for approvals to invest in building a 5-star hotel in Yangcheng, but he faced many difficulties. To buy materials, he had to visit dozens of units to get approvals, which was extremely inefficient. He came to Beijing to seek approvals from the relevant departments. That's really troublesome. If this were in Hong Kong, there wouldn't be so many procedures. The efficiency is just too low. If the country truly wants to reform and open up, these procedures must be streamlined. Otherwise, even if foreign investment comes, they'll leave after running around for approvals, Mr. Hua said with some frustration. Influenced by his upbringing, he had deep feelings for his country. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought most of his wealth to support it when the policies were announced. However, the attitude of the relevant departments made him want to complain. "It would be great if there were an agency to handle these procedures. I'd gladly pay a service fee," he said, tired of dealing with some foolish people. Unintentionally, Sue Mo's eyes lit up at his words. She could start that agency. The Sue family had built relationships over the years. In the future, as foreign investment increases, these foreign companies would struggle with the local relationship dynamics. Paying a service fee would save them trouble and improve efficiency. They would be very willing. This business could last at least a decade or two before the market systems in the country are fully developed. "Mr. Hua, if you need anything, just let me know. My family has some connections that could help," Sue Mo said. She took out a small notebook from her bag, tore out a page, and wrote down her family's phone number. "This is my family's number. If you need anything, just call this number." Mr. Hua thought Sue Mo was just being polite, but since she had written down her number, he took out a business card and handed it to her. "This is my office address in Yangcheng. You're welcome to visit anytime." "Okay." Receiving the business card from the big boss, Sue Mo smiled brightly. Once the company is established, this big boss might even become their first client. Su Yuan drove the car assigned to Su Tingda to pick up Sue Mo. Mr. Hua went to the capital to meet with leaders and didn't bring much luggage. After getting off the plane, he said goodbye to Sue Emo. Sue Emo waited for a while with her luggage, and when she came out, she saw Sue Yuen dressed like a modern professional in a white shirt, black trousers, and black shoes, holding a briefcase and waiting at the exit. When he saw Sue Emo, Sue Yuen smiled brightly. "Little sister." Sue Emo quickened her pace and said, "Big brother, you look very handsome today."
Well,
In the past few months, many companies from Hong Kong have come to Yangcheng, and they all dress like this. "We can't fall behind," Sue Yuen replied with a grin, taking Sue Mo's luggage. Sue Yuen graduated this year, but chose not to take a government job, planning to focus on business instead. Over the years, Su Tingda has realized that developing the economy is the trend, so he didn't stop him. On the way home, the siblings discussed many business matters, mainly Sue Emo sharing her experiences in Germany and her future plans. By the time they got home, it was already evening, and a rich dinner was prepared. After Sue Emo bought her plane ticket and called home, Su Tingqian had Master Wu come over to help cook a feast. The whole family was waiting for her at home. Lele stood on the balcony and, seeing Sue Yuen's car from a distance, rushed downstairs, shouting, "Mom is back! Mom is back!" Hearing this, everyone hurried downstairs. As soon as Sue Emo opened the car door, Lele dashed over like a little cannonball, jumping into her arms and saying, "Mom, I missed you so much. Why didn't you call earlier? My sister and I didn't train today and went to the airport with Uncle." As he spoke, he choked up, his eyes turning red, and he started to cry. He missed his mom so much, but his sister said that boys should be strong, and since Mom was abroad, he couldn't let her worry, so he held it in. Now that Mom was back, he didn't have to hold back anymore. Emo Yuron came down and looked at her daughter for a while, noticing she still looked fair and healthy, not thin or haggard. It seemed she hadn't suffered much outside. Seeing Lele cry, she joked, "Why is this child crying when Mom is back?" But as she spoke, her own eyes turned red. It was the first time since Sue Emo came to Yangcheng with the army that she hadn't seen her daughter for such a long time. Sue Emo felt a bit emotional seeing Lele cry. She gently patted his head and hugged Anan, who was looking at her with red eyes, smiling at her family, who came to greet her. "I'm back." Su Tingqian replied, "It's good that you're back. Are you hungry? Hurry up, dinner is ready at home. You can eat as soon as you go upstairs." At that moment, Su Yuen took Su Mo's suitcase out of the car and joked, "Oh, what's wrong with little Master Lu today? Did someone bully you? Why are you crying?" Lele had only cried for a moment and stopped, but now, teased by Su Yuen, he felt embarrassed, stepped out of Su Mo's arms, wiped his tears, and made a face at Su Yuen. "I'm not crying. I was just so happy to see Mom back, hum." With Su Yuen's teasing, the family happily went upstairs to eat. The table was filled with dishes Su Emo loved, and there were a few bottles of Coca-Cola. This was allowed to be imported earlier this year, but only sold in friendship stores. "I had Su Chifa get 2 cases for everyone to try," Su Yuen said. Unfortunately, the older family members weren't used to carbonated drinks, so only Su Yuen and the 2 kids occasionally had some, leaving quite a bit at home. Today, thinking Su Emo was back from abroad, he put it on the table. As the family enjoyed their meal, Su Emo shared many stories from Germany and talked about the Song family. Although Su Jing had previously advised her not to get too involved with the Song family, it seemed that Su Ping had remembered his words and occasionally checked in on Su Emo, even inviting her to dinner at the Song family, which she declined, citing her busy studies. "I didn't expect the Song family to be managing a gang over there," Su Tingda remarked, as the 2 families had a long-standing friendship and the older generation knew each other well. It was probably thanks to the connections of Song Sanyi. "When I went to study abroad, he was already a small leader in the gang there," Su Tingqian said. Song Sanyi was the younger brother of the old Master Song, only a few years older than Su Tingqian. He went abroad for studies early on and later stayed there to develop. When Su Tingqian and the others went to study, Song Sanyi would occasionally come to visit them. "I think my second cousin seems to want to collaborate with the Song family to invest in the country, but it doesn't seem to be going smoothly," Jing came to talk to me before, expressing interest in investing back home. The policies have been out for over half a year, but he hasn't come over. I don't know what they are thinking. There are obstacles. It seems that the elder uncle doesn't approve. It looks like it won't be possible for the next few years, as the company's funds are all used for expanding into the European market. However, he wants to invest privately. He prepared $5 million and wants to buy shares in our business. Su Mo mentioned the time Su Jing approached her. Su Jing couldn't spare the energy to develop in the country, but was optimistic about the domestic market and didn't want to miss the opportunity. Knowing Su Mo would take action after returning, he sold some of his personal assets to gather $5 million as startup funds for her. Although Su Mo had many valuable items in her space, she didn't have the right opportunity to cash them in. Moreover, if she took out a large sum of money without a good excuse, the government might suspect her of being a spy. Now that Su Jing was offering money to collaborate, it provided a suitable source for the funds, and Su Mo naturally agreed. Besides the $5 million, I also had him sell the items Grandpa wanted me to take out, which brought in $1.5 million, Su Mo said. She had been hesitant to mention the sale of items in her letters or calls, as those could easily be monitored. In the early days of reform and opening up, some things were still not easy to discuss. Everyone was surprised that Su Jing had given $5 million to partner with them, but they knew they needed to plan carefully.
Su Tinde frowned slightly.
With Su Jing providing so much startup capital, if things went by the current ratio, Su Jing would likely hold a large share, and wouldn't that mean their family would be working for him? They needed to gather an equal amount of money and contribute their efforts, ensuring they held at least 80% of the shares, leaving Su Jing with only 20%. This way, they wouldn't have to worry about any issues if the business grew. Is Su Chifa quite familiar with Hong Kong? Su Tingda asked.
Yes, Su Yuan nodded.
Ask him if he can help send some items to Hong Kong for auction. We can use that to raise the funds to reach $5 million, Su Tingdo instructed. Okay, I'll ask him right away. It was rare for the old man to be willing to sell things. Brother, let's not rush. We don't need that much money right now, Su Tingqian said to stop him. After all, we are not foreign investors. It's not suitable to invest so much at the beginning. We can gradually increase our investment in a year or two, he continued. If we make a big move too soon, it could raise unnecessary suspicions. Moreover, there are many obstacles at the start. Given the current situation, big investments might take years to yield returns. It's better to stick with the small projects they are currently working on. If you don't make some investments, how will Su Jing send money? Su Tingda asked. We can't just say it's for spending, right? What kind of relative sends you millions? It's fine if Su Jing's money comes a little late, but the key is to get back that $1.5 million first. They need to have cash on hand to seize opportunities immediately. Let's slowly find a reason for him to send it. Right now, there's a good reason. He can send part of it over. The Patriotic Construction Company is currently raising funds. Su Tiqian explained what he had been handling in Haisha recently. From Su Tingqian's account, Su Mo learned that earlier this year, following the top-level directive to implement policies for former industrial and commercial operators and money and people need to be utilized, the government returned fixed interest, deposits, and confiscated finances to the original business owners. At that time, the Su family also received a supplement of 200,000 yuan, which Su Tingqian initially planned to split with his brother, but Su Tingda declined. In May, encouraged by various business leaders, the Haisher Municipal Committee and the Haisher Federation of Industry and Commerce jointly initiated the establishment of the Haisher Patriotic Construction Company. It became the first private enterprise after the reform, and at that time, the Su family also received a supplement of 200,000 yuan, which Su Tingqian initially planned to split with his brother, but Su Tingda declined. In May, encouraged by various business leaders, the Haisher since there was an opportunity to invest, they decided to invest everything. Thus, in just 2 months, they raised over 50 million yuan, with 25% of the funds coming from overseas and Hong Kong business people. Su Tingqian took out the 200,000 he received and added another 100,000 to purchase a 300,000 share for the Su family. Currently, Su Tingqian holds a deputy position in the company. He plans to use this opportunity to have Su Jing send some money over. The company, with special approval, can operate in construction, services, and trade. Its main business includes house construction, industrial investment, foreign trade, and financial trusts. These are the main directions for future development. He believes that if Su Jing wants to invest but lacks the energy to manage it, buying shares in the Patriotic Construction Company is a good option. Since he has other uses for his funds, he only subscribed for 300,000. If that 1.5 million comes in, he wants to buy more shares to leave some capital for future generations. After hearing Su Tingqian, Su Tingda waved his hand. All right, let's do it your way. If you need money, just say so. Though he said that, Su Tingda decided to sell the box of diamonds when he returned home. Having enough money prepared is always good. In Su Tingda's view, diamonds are just foreign goods, not part of their cultural treasures, so selling them is no loss. After a pleasant meal, Su Mo distributed the gifts she brought back from Germany. For the four men, Su Tingqian, Su Tingda, Su Yuan, and Zhang Zhen, she gave each a Montblanc watch, a mid-range model costing 900 marks each. Although it was mid-range, it looked much more luxurious than domestic watches. The design of the dial and overall lines gave a clear sense of modern technology, and they all liked it very much. This watch is much better than that radar watch, Su Tingqian laughed. Since March, radar watches have been advertised on Haisher TV and have become the most popular watches in the city. Anyone with a bit of status and wealth has bought one. For Mo Yurong, she gifted a Burberry trench coat, perfect for the weather in Yangqing. For the two little ones, she got English children's comics and fairy tale books, as she planned to start teaching them English. The next day, Su Mo calculated the time and went to the post office to call Su Jing. After the reform and opening up, telecommunications have also been reformed. Now, long-distance calls within the country can be made directly from home if you have a phone. However, for international calls, you need to apply and install special lines. The phone installed in the Su family studio is ordinary, so to call abroad, she still has to go to the post office. Before calling, Su Mo asked about the cost and found out that a call to the United States costs 35 yuan per minute.
什么?
Is the communication fee really that expensive? For businesses without strength, just making a phone call could lead to bankruptcy. Despite the high cost, Su Mo made the call to Su Jing and briefly explained the Patriotic Construction Company, asking him to transfer $1 million under this name. In 1979, the exchange rate was about $1 to 1.5 yuan, so $1 million would be about 1.5 million yuan. Since Su Jing hadn't returned to the country since last year's exhibition, he was unaware of the Patriotic Construction Company and became very interested upon hearing about it. Xiao Mo, I will invest $500,000 in this Patriotic Construction Company. Please help me with the paperwork. The paperwork is better understood by my dad. Make sure to call around 9 p.m. Huagua time, Su Mo replied, giving him their home phone number. After noting it down, Su Jing said goodbye and hung up. This brief conversation cost Su Mo over 100 yuan. In an era with limited communication, the cost of connecting was really high. After the call, Su Mo returned home, bringing the two little ones back to the family compound, as the kids would start school in a couple of days. In Yangqing, as a pioneer of reform and opening up, the changes were very obvious. There were noticeably more cars on the road, and even the number of bus routes had increased significantly. The change in clothing was the most noticeable. Young people had started wearing bright colors, including red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The once outdated bell-bottom pants and platform shoes reappeared on the youth. Everyone in the family compound knew about Su Mo studying abroad. When they saw her back, some of the neighbors who were slightly familiar with her came over to ask what life was like overseas, and Su Mo shared what she could. In the afternoon, Su Mo returned to school to report to the school leaders about her exchange program. In the evening, the three of them returned to Gaodaji, and around 9 p.m., Su Jing called to discuss the investment in the Patriotic Construction Company with Su Tingqian. After their discussion, they decided to transfer $1.5 $5 million, with $750,000 counted as Su family's funds and $750,000 as Su Jing's personal funds. They would also help Su Jing purchase 500,000 yuan worth of shares in the company. A week after the call, Su Jing transferred $1.5 million. Su Tingqian returned to Haishur, subscribed to Su Jing's 500,000 shares, and added another 200,000 to bring Su family's shares up to 500,000. The $750,000 exchanged for 1.12 million yuan. Over the past 2 years, they made about 250,000 yuan in business profits and added 300,000 to their shares, leaving them with just over a million. With Su Jing's 620,000, their total capital added up to around 2 million. This amount was neither too much nor too little, so they needed to plan carefully on how to use it. In mid-September, Su Mo also started school. As a senior, there were fewer courses and domestic universities had adopted foreign teaching methods, focusing more on practical experience in the final year. Currently, the country was in a special period of reform and opening up, and there was a need for talent. Based on the directive to produce talent quickly, the school assessed Su Mo's academic progress and allowed her to graduate early. Thus, just 2 weeks into the semester, Su Mo began her graduation defense. After passing, she graduated from school in early October and was assigned to work at the Investment Promotion Office in Guangdong Province. Su Mo originally planned to return home to run the family business after graduation, but many things cannot be changed by one person alone. She decided to serve the country for another 2 years. Su Mo was not the only one graduating early. Qiao Huaqing in Jing City was also assigned to the Investment Promotion Office in Guangdong Province, just like Su Mo. Before attending university, Su Mo already held a director-level position at the Foreign Trade Center. After her assignment, she did not start as an ordinary employee but continued to receive a director-level salary of 96 yuan. Qiao Huaqing had never worked before and was assigned to a regular position with a salary of 56 yuan. Su Mo did not care much about the salary. Given the current financial situation of the Su family, this amount was not significant to her. More importantly, it was about her patriotic feelings. After the job assignments, there was no need to report immediately. She was given 2 weeks of rest and could report to work in November. In early October, the government announced a major policy change, officially allowing individual businesses. Although many unemployed youths had secretly started small businesses after the reform and opening up, they were still walking a fine line. If strict checks were enforced, they could easily face penalties and even forced labor. As a result, they were not very serious about their businesses, just trying to make ends meet. Now, with the new policy, things became stable, and many people rolled up their sleeves, ready to work hard. The office that previously cracked down on speculation transformed into an industrial and commercial administration office. As a pioneer of reform and opening up, Yangcheng was the first to respond. Within half a month of the announcement, various small shops and stalls sprang up like mushrooms after rain. Taking advantage of this momentum, the Su family's clothing store opened, named New Life Clothing Store. The name might seem outdated in later years, but at that time, it was very fitting. After years of hardship, everyone was eager for a happy and better new life. The clothing store was located on Gaudi Street, in the building where Su Tingqian and the others currently lived. The first floor was the shop, the second floor was the studio, and the third floor was for living. Su Mo designed the clothing styles and hired 2 experienced tailors to create samples. She temporarily hired 6 female workers for sewing and 3 salespeople. In October, the temperature in Yangcheng was still high, so people were still wearing single layers. Su Mo's first batch of designs consisted entirely of dresses, totaling 20 styles. Gaudi Street, known as a famous market for individual businesses in the 80s and 90s, was beginning to show signs of life, with several shops opening along the street. It was the perfect time to launch the clothing store. Su Mo had the shop's entrance changed to a full glass display window, where the featured styles could be showcased on mannequins to attract customers. After half a month of preparation, on October 15th, the New Life Clothing Store officially opened. The mannequin in the window displayed the top 5 featured dresses, and the clothing racks inside were filled with stylish women's wear, drawing many people's attention. Above the store entrance hung a banner that read, "Grand Opening Sale, dresses starting at 9.9 yuan." Naturally, the 9.9 yuan dresses were limited to just a few styles, while most were priced between 12.9 and 15.9 yuan, with a couple of premium styles featuring lace priced at 19.9 yuan. This batch of clothing was designed by Su Mo to build brand recognition, with affordable prices that offered about 30% profit per piece. With the reform and opening up, clothing restrictions were not as strict as before. Young women from families that were getting by usually had at least 2 dresses. Moreover, 9.9 yuan was genuinely affordable. Dresses in department stores, though less stylish, cost over 10 yuan. Sumo's designs, even in later years, were not considered outdated, so young women passing by were naturally attracted. Once they stopped and saw the banner, they felt compelled to enter the store. Anyone who entered usually ended up making a purchase, often spending around 10 yuan. Women naturally love to share, so after buying beautiful, affordable dresses, they would wear them out and show them off to their colleagues. Thus, word spread quickly, and within a week, the New Life clothing store became well known in the area, with many women coming to shop every day. For some more discerning customers who found the ready-made sizes not quite fitting, they could pay an extra 3 yuan for custom measurements. These 20 styles of dresses, as basic options, would be popular for a month or 2, but as more people wore them, interest would wane. Therefore, starting from the 3rd week, Su Mo ensured the store introduced 2 to 3 new styles each week to keep customers engaged and encourage them to return to discover new items. After the New Life clothing store gained popularity, some forward-thinking individual entrepreneurs approached Su Mo, asking if they could purchase stock. Su Mo initially opened the clothing store with the intention of later engaging in wholesale. Relying solely on her own shop would not be enough. She agreed to sell to others, but they had to buy 3 sizes of each style, with a wholesale price set at 80% of the retail price. At this time, clothing came in small, medium, and large sizes as people were generally slimmer, and it was not yet the trend to offer larger sizes. As a result, with both retail and wholesale sales by mid-November, just a month after opening, the store's sales had exceeded 20,000 yuan. The 6 female workers were overwhelmed, so Su Yiyuan quickly hired for more. While Su Mo was busy with the clothing store, the Su Family Service Consulting Company was finally established. In later years, registering a company and completing the necessary processes usually took about 15 days, and if someone was quick, it could be done in 4 or 5 days. At that time, during the early reform and opening up period, many laws and procedures were not well established, especially for starting a private company. After Su Mo returned, she discussed this with Su Yiyuan. Even with connections, it took Su Yiyuan nearly 2 months to complete the process. The company is located next to the exhibition center in the Friendly Building, where many foreign-funded companies set up their offices after the reform and opening up. Having the company here is like being right at the doorstep of potential clients, giving them a significant advantage. To secure this location, the Su family put in considerable effort, as the Friendly Building was only open to foreign-funded companies at that time. Domestic private companies could only enter with strong connections. This also served as an invisible advertisement for Su's consulting company. Most foreign companies that came here had been operating for over 6 months and understood how complicated it was to do business in China, where connections were crucial. The fact that a consulting company could set up here clearly indicated that they had a strong background and network. Clients would feel comfortable having such a company assist them. As long as the work was done well, paying a fee was not an issue. The biggest concern was paying and not getting the job done, which could waste time. For business people, time is often money. To showcase their strength, the siblings invested in a spacious office of about 100 square meters, with Su Mo providing the design for an impressive renovation. The Friendly Building primarily rents to foreign companies at a rate of 10 yuan per square meter, meaning the monthly rent for their office would exceed 1,000 yuan. To facilitate operations and demonstrate their capabilities, the company also purchased 2 small cars, specifically BJ212 Jeeps, which were easier to acquire in terms of registration. With connections, they bought them for 33,000 yuan each, including taxes. Additionally, the company acquired 5 Dongfeng EQ140 trucks to form a transportation team. The trucks were also purchased through connections at a cost of 38,000 yuan each, totaling 190,000 yuan for all 5. Apart from the 5 truck drivers, they hired a receptionist, an accountant, and 3 clerks. The 5 truck drivers were all former military transport personnel with excellent skills. Su Yuan knew them from his previous work under Su Tingda and brought them over from their original positions. 2 of the clerks were recruited from a food factory where Su Yuan had previously worked as a manager. He recognized their abilities and they were eager to join him, so they quickly transitioned to work with him. The 3rd clerk was a childhood friend of Su Yuan, whose father was a high-ranking official in the military district. Tired of his family's restrictions, he decided to join Su Yuan in his entrepreneurial venture. The consulting company was registered with a capital of 500,000 yuan, making it Sumo's largest investment to date. On the opening day, Mr. Hu came with a few friends to congratulate them and signed several business deals with the company. Mr. Hu's 5-star hotel was under construction, requiring transportation for many building materials. He had been working with a transportation company in Yangcheng, but their efficiency did not meet his needs. Previously, he had no other options and had to endure it. Now that the Su family had a transportation team and the siblings had helped him solve a few issues recently, he was happy to work with them. With these contracts, the consulting company quickly began operations. Their excellent service, high efficiency, and reasonable fees soon gained them recognition. Foreign companies without local connections began entrusting the Su family's consulting company with their business needs. While the Su family's business was thriving, Yang Suyun and Zhou Qiuying and Haisher were arguing about starting their own business. Zhou Qiuying was almost driven to anger by Yang Suyun. She really couldn't understand why her daughter, a university student about to graduate, was so determined to become a self-employed worker. What kind of respectable person is a self-employed worker? They are usually people who can't find jobs after returning to the city, unstable and without benefits, living day by day. Suyun, listen to your mom. Don't be foolish. This won't last long. Who knows if things will change again soon. By then, you might not only not make money, but could even get caught up in something bad. That's not true. The government has already issued policies allowing self-employment, Yang Suyun countered. At the beginning of the year, when I said I wanted to do this, you disagreed, saying the government hadn't issued any policies. I listened to you. Now that the government has issued policies, do you want to stop me again? I'm not taking this money for free. I'm borrowing it from you. I can write you an IOU, and will pay you back within a year at the latest. After the reform and opening up policies were announced, Yang Suyun was eager to start something. In her dreams, she had worked for 2 or 3 years before quitting to start a business in 1982. In her dreams, she had over 80,000 yuan in savings from the Su family, enough to open a restaurant right away. Now, she only had 500 yuan from her divorce, and after spending some during her 3 years in college, she was left with just over 300 yuan. How could that be enough to open a restaurant? She thought it would be better to start with a small business and build up some capital first. So, at the beginning of the year, Yang Suyun went home to ask Zhou Qiuying to lend her 1,000 yuan to rent a small shop near the school to sell food. The Yang family had suffered a lot in previous years and had just started to recover in the last 2 years. Zhou Qiuying had only saved about 300 or 400 yuan and couldn't give her that much. As for Yang Suyun's brother, although he had received a promotion, he had 2 children and a spendthrift wife, so Zhou Qiuying guessed he couldn't save much each month either. Moreover, in Zhou Qiuying's view, a stable job was the best option, and she looked down on being a street vendor. Even if one could make some money temporarily, it was unstable and offered no benefits. How could that work? Suyun, it's not that I don't want to lend you money. It's that I don't have it. How could you not have it? I saw your bank book a few years ago. You had over 3,000 yuan. You just don't want to give it to me because you want to save it for my brother, Yang Suyun said angrily. Her mother was so biased. You know that was a few years ago. Your brother didn't work for 2 years and had to rely on connections and spend money, so that money was mostly gone. Yang Xun sneered. You think I would believe that you spent over 3,000 yuan in 2 years? Zhou Qiuying was momentarily speechless. They had indeed spent a bit too much. But at that time, Yang Xun had married into the Gong family and didn't help her brother get his job back. Yang Xun's brother was desperate and wasted money trying to find connections. Plus, Zhongya wasn't someone who could save money. Their daily expenses were already high, so it all disappeared. Xun, I'm not lying to you. It's really gone. Besides, I don't support this idea. You should focus on your studies and wait for the government to assign you a job. When that happens, I'll ask your uncle to help you get a good position in Haishur. You don't believe in this because you lack vision. In my dreams, those who become self-employed will be the first to get rich. Siyun, I've told you. You can't rely on your dreams. How many things from your dreams have actually come true? Zhou Qiuying sighed. She thought she should take her daughter to the hospital to check if she had some kind of hysteria. Yang Suyun choked up. There were indeed some differences in details, but the overall direction remained the same. Although the Su family was still alive, she firmly believed that if she followed the path in her dreams, she would eventually achieve success and be admired. So, she had to earn enough money to open a restaurant by 1982. She remembered that in her dream, she spent over 20,000 yuan to open the restaurant. There was no way she could save that kind of money from a regular job. The only possibility was to become self-employed. In her dream, most of the first batch of wealthy individuals were self-employed. Fine. Even if you don't believe my dream, you should believe in the Su family, right?
Yang Suyun gritted her teeth.
The Su family has been opening shops since last year. They have connections. If this wasn't possible, how could they have started so early? Well, I heard that Hu Qingjun has become a deputy director in the workshop, but he still transferred his job to his brother to follow the Su family. If it were bad, would he do that? Siyun, you can't compare yourself to the Su family.
This.
Before Zhou Qiuying could finish, Yang Siyun interrupted her angrily. Why can't I compare?
Why not?
We're in a new society now, and everyone is equal. Stop using your old-fashioned ideas. Yang Siyun hated it when people said she couldn't compare to the Su family. It felt like she was meant to be forever stepped on by Su Mo. Seeing Yang Siyun like this, Zhou Qiuying also got a bit angry and started arguing with her. As they argued, they raised their voices. Yang Siyun's brother, Yang Suyong, had brought some things from the factory, thinking he hadn't visited their mother in a while, so he brought some items over. Before he even reached the door, he could hear the two of them arguing from a distance, and the neighbors were all eavesdropping at their doors. Yang Suyong hurried over to shoo the neighbors away before opening the door. Mom, Suyun, what's going on? Talk it out and don't let others laugh at us. When Yang Suyong returned, the mother and daughter finally stopped arguing. Suyun, your mom is getting old. If you have something to discuss, just talk to her nicely.
Don't argue, Yang Suyong said gently.
Since Yang Suyun got into university, the relationship between the siblings seemed to have improved. I want to talk nicely, but she insists on making a scene. Suyun, your mom is worried you might choose the wrong path. Suyong, please talk to your sister. She shouldn't be thinking about becoming self-employed. Zhou Qiuying explained the situation to Yang Suyong, hoping he would persuade Yang Suyun. As the younger generation, Yang Suyong was more open to new ideas and understood self-employment better than Zhou Qiuying. He had a colleague whose brother returned from the countryside and partnered with 2 classmates to open a snack stall. In just half a year, he bought a refrigerator for his family. Although refrigerator prices had dropped a bit this year, it still cost over 900 yuan. Being able to spend over 1,000 yuan without blinking showed that the snack stall was quite profitable. After thinking for a moment, Yang Suyong said, Siyun, do you have confidence in this? Of course, Yang Suyun scoffed, looking down on her brother, who had been living off the family. All right, I'll lend you the 1,000 yuan you need.
Suyong.
Why are you going along with this nonsense? Zhou Qiuying disagreed. If your sister doesn't take the job assigned by the government, what will happen to her food security? What about housing and healthcare? Have you considered those? Yang Seon didn't expect Yang Seong to lend her money and said, "I'll write you an IOU right now." Then she turned to Zhou Qiuying and said, "I've thought about all this. You don't need to worry." Eventually, those receipts wouldn't matter. Moreover, soon there would be commercial housing, and as long as she had money, she could buy a house. Yang Seong waved his hand, saying, "No need for an IOU. This money is just me supporting you in your business." Since Yang Seong worked in finance, he had the cash from today in his briefcase. He took out a stack of 1,000 yuan and handed it directly to Yang Seon. After Yang Seon took the money and left, Zhou Qiuying frowned at her son, unsure of his intentions.
Suhon.
Mom, since Seon wants to try, let her. It's better to do it now while she hasn't graduated yet. If it doesn't work out, there's still time to change things. You know Soo-yoon's personality. If we don't let her try, she will keep thinking about it.
But
investing 1,000 yuan is too much. If it fails, that money will be wasted, and it would take years to save up again. Yang Suong waved his hand. Mom, it's fine. I'll cover it. Where did you get so much money? Don't go back and have Zhongya upset with you again. It's a bonus from work, Yang Suong replied. It's okay. I'll explain it to Zhongya. During the time I was unemployed, I spent a lot of family money, and Seon deserves a share of that. This 1,000 yuan is just a way to compensate her. Hearing this, Zhou Qiuying didn't say anything more. She made Yang Suong a bowl of noodles, and after he finished, she sent him home. When Yang Suong got home, Zhongya was in the living room watching TV. Seeing him come back, she asked, "Why are you so late today?" "I brought some things for Mom from work." Yang Suong put the items away and took out a stack of money from his briefcase, handing it to Zhongya. "Keep this money safe." Zhongya frowned when she saw it was only a small bundle. "Why is it so little this time?" "I gave Seon 1,000 yuan. She wants to rent a space at school to sell food. You know, my job was secured by helping Seon get divorced from Gong Yi. I owe her, so this money is to make up for that." After hearing this, Zhongya didn't argue. Since Suong started working with his father, the family had enough money, so giving away this 1,000 yuan was fine. Director Zhong was never known for being honest. He had been secretly reselling fabric. After the reform and opening up, more people started doing business, and Director Zhong became even more active in reselling. Recently, their factory was chosen for a pilot reform, and the rules were changing, causing some chaos. Director Zhong took this opportunity to make a big deal. He was taking this risk because his power had been gradually diminished. Instead of waiting around, he thought it better to make some quick money and retire when the first batch of workers did. With money in hand and the reforms happening, he might even be able to do something else. For the past 2 years, Yang Suong had been helping Director Zhong with this, and he had made quite a bit of money. Zhou Qiuying thought he hadn't saved much, but in reality, he had brought home around 20,000 yuan. One day, Soo Yun invited a business representative from a Hong Kong company to dinner at the state-owned hotel. After the meal, when he went to his car, he noticed Su Chifa's car parked nearby. Soo Yun had planned to find Su Chifa that night, so since he was already there, he decided to wait in the car and talk to him, saving himself a trip later. The clothing store's sales were increasing, and the demand for fabric was growing. Some decorative items were not produced by local textile factories. Soo Yun wanted Su Chifa's help to import a batch from Hong Kong. After waiting in the car for a while, he finally saw Su Chifa come out of the hotel, accompanied by a stylish woman with long hair. They were walking closely together, and it was clear they had a close relationship.
Hey.
When did Brother Fa start dating? Why didn't he tell me? Soo Yun smiled and was about to get out of the car to greet him. Just then, Su Chifa and the woman walked closer, and when Soo Yun saw her face, he was taken aback. It was Fan Huafeng. At first, Soo Yun had a good impression of her. They got along well. But over time, he realized she was quite fake and materialistic, often flirting with him, so he gradually distanced himself. He didn't expect Brother Fa to know her, and it seemed they were dating. Soo Yun felt conflicted, unsure whether to warn Brother Fa about what kind of person Fan Huafeng was. Su Yun wanted to avoid the situation, but he drove his car close enough to see Su Chifa's vehicle. When Su Chifa approached, he noticed Su Yun's car and came over to take a look. Seeing that Su Chifa was coming, Su Yun had no choice but to get out of the car to greet him. Brother Fa, what a coincidence. When Su Chifa arrived, he mentioned he ran into a brother, and Fan Huafeng followed him. They had just started dating, and she wanted to make her presence known. Since he met a brother, she naturally wanted to get acquainted. When she saw Su Yun get out of the car, her expression stiffened for a moment, but quickly returned to normal. Initially, she only hinted at her interest in Su Yun and never made it clear. She could easily say she just considered him a friendly classmate. If there was any misunderstanding, it was his fault. Yeah, what a coincidence. I'm here with my girlfriend for dinner, Su Chifa said. Yuan, let me introduce you. This is my new girlfriend, Fan Huafeng. Su Yun laughed. Brother Fa, that's funny. The new sister-in-law is my class monitor from university. Fan, it's been a while. Where are you working after graduation? Su Yun, I didn't expect you to know my boyfriend, Fan Huafeng said, pretending to be casual. I wouldn't say I have a great job. I got assigned to the finance department at the fertilizer factory in Yangcheng. The fertilizer factory is good. It's a solid place. How can I compare to you? You've only been working a few months and already have a car. Su Yun waved his hand. Oh, I'm just borrowing my family's wealth. My car can't compare to Brother Fa's. His one is worth more than my 3 combined. Su Chifa's car was an imported Volga, costing around 100,000 yuan, while Su Yun's Jeep was only 33,000 yuan. Hearing this, Fan Huafeng felt a surge of vanity, but kept her composure. She glanced at Su Chifa and shyly said, Is it really that expensive? I had no idea. Su Yun wanted to roll his eyes. If a finance worker didn't even know the price of standard factory cars, she should just leave. Her act was too much. Su Chifa seemed to appreciate Fan Huafeng's shyness and laughed. It's not that expensive. I'll buy you one in the future. No need. The dorm is just a few steps from the factory. I don't need a car, Fan Huafeng replied playfully. Su Yun, annoyed by her performance, quickly said, Brother Fa, I have something to do, so I'll leave you too. I'll come by your house later to discuss some matters. All right, see you tonight. After Su Yun left, Su Chifa drove Fan Huafeng back to the factory. On the way, Fan Huafeng subtly asked how Su Chifa knew Su Yun. Hearing that their relationship didn't seem very close, she felt relieved. Su Chifa was the best match she had found, and she couldn't let anyone ruin that. Although he couldn't compare to Su Yun didn't appreciate her. Instead of accommodating others, it was better to choose someone who would accommodate her. At 27, turning 28 soon, she felt the pressure of marriage. Even as a university graduate, she was getting older. If she didn't marry soon, she might end up labeled as an old maid. Su Chifa might not be well educated, but he was wealthy. Living in the pioneering Guangdong province during the reform era, Fan Huafeng's perspective had changed. While power was important, money was even more crucial. How many children of high-ranking officials could afford a car or dine at state-run restaurants? After dating Su Chifa for just 2 months, her quality of life had improved significantly. The pocket money he gave her was equivalent to several months of her salary. The clothes and jewelry he gifted her were trendy items not even available in department stores, clearly from Hong Kong. Now, none of the unmarried women at the factory envied her. After dropping her off at the factory gate, Su Chifa pulled out a stack of cash from his bag and handed it to Fan Huafeng. I'll be busy for the next few days and might not be able to spend time with you. Take this money and buy whatever you like. Fan Huafeng accepted the money with a smile. Brother Fa, you're so good to me. Don't work too hard. Take care of yourself. She even boldly kissed Su Chifa on the cheek before happily getting out of the car. That evening, after finishing his work, Su Yun packed some food and a bottle of wine and went to Su Chifa's place. After discussing business, Su Yun, feeling a bit tipsy, decided to give Su Chifa a warning. But he would only say it this once. After that, he wouldn't interfere. Brother Fa, even if you don't like it, I have to say this. I've been classmates with Fan Huafeng for 3 years. She's quite materialistic and not someone who can share hardships. I personally think she's not a good match. He didn't mention how she had tried to flirt with him several times to avoid making Su Qifa uncomfortable. Su Qifa was silent for a moment, then sighed. Yuan, I know she's after my money. Yuan, you're different from me. You're a child of privilege, a university student, and your business is thriving. You can choose any partner you want. I only have a primary school education, my family background isn't great, and I'm getting older. My only advantage is my wealth. Fan Huafeng is the best option I have right now. Su Qifa was 35 this year. He hadn't married for various reasons in the past, but now that the reform was underway and his business was improving, he was considering starting a family. He had been in contact with people from Hong Kong and agreed with the idea that a wife's intelligence can affect the intelligence of the next generation. Therefore, he looked for partners who had at least a high school education. Finding a university student like Fan Huafeng made him quite satisfied. He knew she was interested in his money, but what did it matter? He had plenty of it. What he wanted were her good genes. Fan Huafeng was attractive and educated, so their children should turn out well. Wealthy individuals in Hong Kong often rewarded their wives or mistresses for having sons, and he was just following suit. As long as Fan Huafeng could give him healthy and smart children, he would be willing to spend any amount. Su Yuan was taken aback by Su Qifa's words. Brother Fa, you're a good person. There's no need to think so lowly of yourself. Su Qifa chuckled and waved his hand. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Yuan was single. He didn't understand these things. Since Su Qifa had said that, Su Yuan didn't press further, and they continued to drink and chat about other topics. On November 1st, Su Mo reported to the investment promotion office. She noticed that more than half of the people there had been transferred from the Foreign Trade Center. It made sense, as the Foreign Trade Center staff had been in contact with foreign merchants, giving them some connections and language skills. Their experience made them naturally better suited for investment promotion than others. At that time, during the trade fair, the staff in the investment promotion office were busy visiting foreign merchants or overseas Chinese they had previously met to attract investment. Thanks to the resources she had accumulated earlier, Sumo quickly took charge of her work after reporting. She first filtered through the foreign merchants she had contacted in the clothing and accessories industry and began discussions with them one by one. The clothing industry in Yangqing did not emerge at the start of the reform and opening up, but developed after the three comes and one supplement trade matured. It began to take shape around 1985 and thrived in the 1990s. By then, Guangdong province had become the world's processing factory, with a large amount of clothing and accessories flowing out of factories, gradually forming a scale in Yangqing. Sumo's goal now was to accelerate this process through her efforts. Currently, clothing stores seemed to be doing well, but they were just small players in Yangqing. To achieve scale, it was necessary to attract significant capital. While the Investment Promotion Office was busy attracting investment, the media reported an exciting piece of news. Last year, Shaojiang Village signed contracts for land distribution, and this year's grain harvest was completed by October. The total grain output this year was 66 tons, equivalent to the total output of the team from 1966 to 1970. Suddenly, the household responsibility system was mentioned again, sparking heated discussions nationwide. Families with enough labor were eager for the government to issue documents for household production, while those with insufficient labor or who preferred to cut corners opposed it. After all, in the production team, even if one didn't work much, there was still a grain quota, ensuring no one would starve. However, if land was distributed to individuals, not working for a day could lead to hunger. As a pioneer in reform, Guangdong province actively tried new systems. Provincial leaders quickly selected several key cities and counties to pilot household production the following year, planning to assess next year's output before deciding whether to implement it province-wide. Other provinces, while not as aggressive as Guangdong, were also experimenting to varying degrees, and reform was slowly progressing. After more than a month of effort, Su Mo successfully negotiated with two major clothing brands, convincing them to agree to establish factories in Yangcheng. She also secured several sample processing orders for domestic garment factories. As a result, some substandard products and excess goods would flow into the Yangcheng market. With more products available, a scale would naturally form, attracting those with a keen sense for business to Yangcheng. While processing orders were easy to negotiate, establishing factories was more challenging, as securing land required extensive procedures. Fortunately, the Su family owned a consulting company, and Sumo confidently promised that they could handle the paperwork, which led the two clothing brands to agree to build factories in Yangcheng. Once all investments were finalized and implementation began, Sumo introduced Sui Yuan to the two foreign merchants, bundling the paperwork and construction to the Su family consulting company, allowing them to focus only on inspections at the agreed times. Su Mo wasn't acting in her own interest. There were few companies of the same type, and even fewer that could guarantee timelines. Since she brought in the investment, she naturally felt more secure choosing her own company. After the company opened, business was already good, and with the addition of these two major contracts and more to come, the Su family purchased 5 more trucks, increasing their fleet to 10. They also established a construction department, initially focusing on renovations and small projects, with plans to gradually expand. By the end of December, Liu Chongjing returned with his team from the front lines. The fighting had subsided, and local frontline troops could handle minor issues. Liu Chongjing and his team returned with honors and promotions. Many were promoted, and Liu Chongjing moved up a rank from division commander to deputy army level, with a salary increased to 252 yuan a month. If the Su family hadn't been in business, this salary would have been considered high, but after starting their business, it seemed less significant. With the ongoing reforms, income disparities would become increasingly evident in the coming years. Although the government made a few salary adjustments, more and more people were resigning to start their own businesses. On the first day of 1980, the Liu family celebrated a joyful event as Liu Xiaolan gave birth to a son in Tang City, becoming one of the first children of the 80s generation. After receiving the good news call from Ding Zhiqing, Zhang Jin sent 300 yuan to the couple, encouraging Liu Xiaolan to take care of herself during her recovery. Since he couldn't help physically, he decided to contribute financially. After the studio expanded, Zhang Jin's salary was raised to 100 yuan a month by Su Tingqian. He also received a monthly pension of 40 yuan, and with his meals and accommodation covered by the studio, he had little to spend and saved quite a bit. He thought about supporting Ding Zhiqing with some money, so they could buy a small courtyard house in Beijing, giving the couple a place to call their own. A week later, the remittance slip arrived, and Li Yuei went to collect the money. 2 weeks before Liu Xiaolan gave birth, Ding Zhiqing brought Li Yuei to Tang City to help take care of her. After the earthquake, Tang City was rebuilt, and housing was plentiful. Liu Xiaolan, a university graduate assigned to teach at a high school in Tang City, was given a new 2-bedroom apartment. After Li Yuei collected the money, she said to Liu Xiaolan, "Your father-in-law is really good to you. You should remember to treat him well in the future." Having a godfather who spends money to marry off a daughter and sends so much money when a child is born is something even a biological father might not do. Liu Xiaolan nodded. "We know, don't worry. Now that you have a child, don't send money home anymore. There's not much to spend in the countryside, and your father and I are fine. But you should occasionally send some money or gifts to your father-in-law to show you care," Li Yuei advised. Liu Xiaolan waved her hand. "No need. I sent him money once, and he sent back even more. My godfather doesn't need money. He has my 3 aunts there, and they have everything they need. When he decides to stop working, we can bring him here to enjoy his retirement." "Does he have a high pension?" Li Yuei asked, knowing Zhang Zhen had retired. She had read in the newspaper that retired workers started receiving pensions last year. Liu Xiaolan shook her head. "I'm not sure, probably just a few dozen yuan. He helps Uncle Su manage the studio, and I heard from Zhiqing that his salary was raised to 100 yuan a few months ago." Li Yuei gasped. 100 yuan a month? Yes. How can they pay such a high salary? After paying that, does your father-in-law still make money? Liu Xiaolan laughed. Of course he makes money. Uncle Su's business is much bigger than you think. Now, with the shops in Haishur and Yongqing combined, there should be around 10. I called my 3 aunts recently, and she mentioned they started a company and bought trucks to form a transport team. Li Wei gasped again, feeling a bit worried. Is it okay to open so many shops? What if he becomes a capitalist? Usually, Su and Mo called Li Wei to check on their health and talk about daily life, so Li Wei had no idea how big the Su family's business had grown. Mom, why are you worrying? The country has opened up now. Besides, Guangdong province is at the forefront of reform, with 3 economic zones there. Opening shops and companies is supported by the government, Lu Xiaolan said. She thought it would be good to bring her parents to the big city to see the world. The news in their small village was still lagging behind, and their thinking was stuck in the past. By the way, Mom, my 3 aunts said they opened a clothing store a couple of months ago, selling the trendiest clothes. She asked me if I wanted to open a store in Tang City, bringing goods from Yangqing by train. Mom, you love making clothes. Why not stay here instead of going back? I can rent a shop for you, and you can sell my 3 aunts' clothes while making some of your own. What do you think?
Well,
If I don't go back, what will your father and grandfather do?
Liu hesitated.
Her plan was to help her daughter until she was weaned, and then take her back to the village. When the time comes, we can bring them over. The whole country is discussing household production, and I saw in the newspaper that many provinces are already piloting it. At this rate, it won't be long before it's fully implemented, and then Dad's role as the village leader won't matter much. Your father is getting older. It might be a good opportunity for him to step down and travel while he's still healthy. Lu Xiaolan became more excited, feeling it was a feasible plan. If you think it's not good here, you can go to Yangqing. My 3 aunts have said they would welcome you if you come. Li Wei was tempted. Well, I'll ask your father about it. Then it's settled, Lu Xiaolan said decisively. Once I'm done with my recovery, I'll rent a shop for you to try out. She heard from her 3 aunts that opening a clothing store could earn more than a salary. Once her mother experienced the joy of making money, she probably wouldn't want to go back. The next day, Lu Xiaolan dressed warmly and, while Li Wei went out to buy groceries, she secretly slipped to the communication room to call Su and Mo. She explained the situation and asked her to send the clothes over. Su and Mo readily agreed and chose some styles suitable for the north, sending 5 sets of each style. However, their current clothing line mainly targeted the Yangqing market, and there weren't many styles suitable for the northern winter. Su and Mo planned to release some new cotton clothing later, with thin cotton for southern cities and thicker ones for northern cities. Meanwhile, the clothing store in Haishur was also being renovated. Lu Xiaolan planned to contact Ma Xiaowan to open a store in Harbin. In Beijing, Qiao Huaqing had a relative with similar ideas, and she was going to Beijing for a business trip soon, so she would meet with her then. On January 1st, besides Lu Xiaolan giving birth, the Su Food Factory officially opened. Although it is called a food factory, it is really just an upgrade of the noodle workshop, which will still mainly focus on noodle production for now. After more than 2 years of development, the Su family's noodle workshop had over 20 employees by last year. The noodles produced were sold in their own store and also wholesaled to others. Su family's noodles are made with quality ingredients, taste great, come in many varieties, and face little competition, quickly gaining a good reputation in Yang City. Many entrepreneurs saw the business opportunity and approached to buy in bulk. Even nearby factory canteens sometimes came to purchase to improve their employees' meals. As a result, the Su family's noodles became increasingly popular in Yang City, with more and more people coming to buy in bulk, leading to rising sales. Now, the daily production of noodles is struggling to meet demand, making hiring necessary. However, the current workshop space is limited, and the various processes are becoming cramped. 2 months ago, Su Tingqian used connections to buy an unused warehouse from a food factory. After a month of renovations, he transformed it into a fully equipped small food factory. Inside, separate workspaces were created by category, and a medium-sized cold storage was built. They also introduced machines for steaming buns and a new packaging machine. With the new steaming machine, they can steam thousands of buns at once, greatly improving efficiency. The new packaging machine uses vacuum sealing, which extends the shelf life of the noodles. After packaging, the noodles look much more upscale, making them suitable for gifts or retail sales. In the cooked food section, several apprentices were hired to assist Master Wu, and another master chef was brought in. They renovated another house into a workshop dedicated to various cooked foods, which are then delivered to different stores by a dedicated team. After upgrading to a food factory, Sumo's grain procurement plan is also set to transform. They will gradually reduce the amount of grain produced in-house until they rely entirely on outside suppliers. As the demand for wheat increases, relying solely on Sumo's production is time-consuming and labor-intensive. She needs to conserve her limited energy for more economically beneficial tasks. After moving the noodle workshop, the Su family bought 30 sewing machines and transformed the original workshop into a new clothing studio. In the new year, the Su family plans to open food and clothing store branches in all 4 economic zones, so they must increase production capacity in advance. In mid-January, Su Mo and a few colleagues went to the capital to report to their leaders. Due to various institutional peculiarities, attracting investment has not been smooth. Many foreign investors are hesitant, unwilling to be the first to take risks, fearing potential losses. Some who were finally convinced found that the challenges during execution were far greater than expected, encountering many unexpected issues. Abroad, purchasing is straightforward. Find a supplier and place an order, usually just waiting a bit for production. However, the domestic market is still planned economy. Foreign investors must first obtain approval from relevant departments before purchasing from designated factories. In a planned economy, factories have set monthly production quotas. If the order is small, they might adjust to fulfill it, but large orders must wait in line, which can take months and severely affect efficiency. Importing goods from abroad involves various tariffs, adding to the complications. Additionally, some staff view investors as capitalists and have a negative attitude, delaying processes and frustrating foreign investors. As a result, some foreign investors prefer to withdraw, even at a loss. Their purpose in coming was to report these issues to their leaders, hoping for more autonomy in the special zones or simplified procedures. After landing, Su Mo and her team took a detour to the airport restaurant to see the controversial mural that has been frequently reported in the media. The mural has become a major attraction in the capital, with many people visiting daily to see it. When they arrived, a large crowd surrounded the mural, with 2 groups arguing. One group believed the mural was immoral and wanted the artist arrested. The other group defended it as art and a significant leap in thought, representing the determination for reform and opening up. The 2 sides argued fiercely, and after listening for a while, the group left. The mural is beautiful, but its interpretation varies by perspective. Changing thoughts takes time, and the clash of ideas is a normal part of the early reform period. It just requires patience. Similarly, their work, like the mural, may also need time to develop smoothly. After finishing their work, Sumo asked for a few days off to visit Lu Xiaolan in Tang City. Before heading to Tang City, Su Mo arranged to meet her colleague Qiao Huaqing's cousin to showcase the clothing samples she brought and share the upcoming production designs. After seeing the samples and designs, Qiao Huaqing's cousin was thrilled. She immediately signed a contract and paid a deposit for the clothing. Since many aspects are still not finalized, Su Mo did not sign any franchise agreements yet. Once the relevant regulations are in place and the brand is registered, they will address that part. Xiao Huaqing's cousin works as a section chief in a large factory's publicity department. Her fashion sense is ahead of many others in the country. After Qiao Huaqing moved to Yang City, she often visited the Su family's clothing store and sent her cousin some outfits, knowing she loves fashion. Initially, her cousin thought the clothes were from Hong Kong, but after learning they were made by Sumo's store and hearing about its success, she became interested in opening her own store. However, she doesn't plan to quit her job to sell clothes. Instead, she intends to hire 2 people to help run the store and just check the accounts after work. She enjoys dressing up, but the current clothing styles in the country are limited. Custom orders are expensive, and some fabrics may not even be available. Now, with a ready source of clothing, she can open a store, wear stylish outfits without worry, and even earn some extra money. As for sales, there are many female workers at her factory who love fashion and have decent incomes. As long as she wears new styles to work every day and shows them off, she won't have to worry about sales. After finishing her business in the capital, Sue Mo went to the department store to buy baby formula, brown sugar, condensed milk, royal jelly, and 2 cans of malt extract that had become popular since last year. She then took a ride to Tang City. Before leaving, Sue Mo called the school's reception to inform them she would be arriving soon. Li Yue received the news and hurried to the market to buy lamb and a large pork knuckle, planning to make lamb soup and braised pork for Sue Mo. It had been over a year since she last saw Sue Mo, especially after Lu Xiaolan's wedding, and she missed her. Lu Xiaolan's school was not far from the bus station, and there were human-powered tricycles available for transport. Sue Mo took a tricycle from the station to the school, which took about 10 minutes and cost 2 dimes. Upon arriving at the school, Sue Mo registered as a visitor at the gate and followed the guard's directions to the staff building where Lu Xiaolan lived. Most of the houses in Tang City were newly built, spacious, and bright. The staff building at the school even had heating, which was better than most buildings in the capital. At that moment, Li Yue had just finished preparing the meal and was putting on her coat to wait for Sue Mo at the school gate. As she opened the door, she saw Sue Mo coming up the stairs with several bags. Li Yue quickly ran over to help, happily saying, "Xiao Mo, why are you so fast? I was just about to go to the school gate to meet you." The driver today must be an experienced one. He drove really fast, so I arrived early, Sue Mo replied with a smile. Once inside, Lu Xiaolan heard the noise and quietly came out. Seeing Sue Mo, she excitedly whispered, "Sister-in-law." When she noticed the table full of items, she added, "Sister-in-law, I'm already so happy you came, but why did you buy so much?" Sue Mo teased, "It's not for you. It's for my nephew." "Oh dear, looks like I'm losing my favor," Lu Xiaolan laughed. The 2 sisters-in-law chatted in the living room for a while. Once Sue Mo warmed up, they went inside to see the baby. The baby was sleeping soundly, well taken care of, chubby and fair, with features that strongly resembled Ding Zhiqing, making it clear to anyone that they were father and son. Sue Mo cherished the moment, gently touching the baby's little face. "This little guy is really sturdy." Lu Xiaolan laughed. "He was born a chubby 7-pounder. I ate a lot during my pregnancy, and he was quite big, which made it tough for me. I almost had to have a cesarean." Lu Xiaolan indeed suffered during childbirth because the baby was too big, and the situation was somewhat dangerous. "You knew the baby was big. Why didn't you opt for a cesarean from the start?" "The doctor said a natural birth is better for the baby. Since I had the chance, I thought I should try for a natural delivery and avoid a cesarean," Lu Xiaolan explained. Since last year, the country had implemented family planning policies, targeting public workers and industrial households first. Couples like Lu Xiaolan and her husband, both university graduates, were only allowed to have 1 child. "That's true, but you must prioritize your health. That's the foundation for everything," Sue Mo said. "Okay, I won't do that again." Lu Xiaolan nodded, feeling touched. Only her sister-in-law always thought practically for her. Her parents cared for her too, but due to their old-fashioned beliefs, they thought it was normal for parents to sacrifice for their children. For the sake of the child, a mother enduring some hardship was nothing unusual. Lu Xiaolan had considered a cesarean, but after hearing the doctor say a natural birth was best, and with a little encouragement from Li Yue, she chose to go natural. "Have you named the baby yet?" Sue Mo asked. "Yes, Dad named him Dinglifeng a couple of days ago, hoping he will always be happy and free like the wind," Lu Xiaolan said, referring to Zhangzhan as Dad. "That's a nice name. I hope little Lifeng lives up to it and stays happy all his life," Sue Mo said, taking out a prepared red envelope from her bag and placing it by the baby's pillow. "Sister-in-law, you bought so many things. Why are you giving a red envelope to?" "You should take it back," Lu Xiaolan said, trying to return the envelope. This envelope was thick, and knowing her sister-in-law, it must contain a large sum, at least 300 or 400 yuan. How could she accept that? This is just a small gift from me and your brother for our little nephew. If you don't accept it, I won't be happy, Su Emo playfully insisted. But this is too much. Le Feng is just a baby. He doesn't need such a big red envelope. Su Emo waved her hand. Your brother got promoted last month and received a raise. Lu Xiaolan was delighted. Your brother got promoted? Yes, he was promoted to deputy military rank. The logistics department informed us recently that we can get a 2-story standalone house. I'm thinking of having Dad and Mom move to Yangcheng in a couple of years, so we decided to switch houses, and we'll move after the new year. That's great. When summer vacation comes, I'll take Lefeng to visit and let him meet his successful uncle. You're always welcome to come, Su Emo smiled. This year, we're going back to Lujia village for the new year. We haven't been back in years, and this year I can take a break. Are you going back? Lu Xiaolan's family initially planned to go to Yangcheng to spend the new year with Zhang Zhen and let the grandparents meet their grandson. But since Sumo's family was going back, they naturally decided to return as well. All right, then we'll go back this year too. At that moment, Li Wei had already set the table and came to call them for dinner. The three of them enjoyed a lovely meal together, and Li Wei even poured 2 cups of fruit wine for a toast with Su Mo. After the meal, the three began discussing the idea of opening a clothing store. Once Su Mo explained in detail, the 2 women realized just how profitable opening a clothing store could be. Even if they sold just 1 or 2 items a day, they could earn a couple of hundred yuan in a month. If sales increased, the income would be substantial. For Li Wei, it was almost hard to imagine. Xiao Mo, is it really that profitable to do business now? Wouldn't that be more than a worker's salary? Her daughter had just graduated from university and earned only a little over 50 yuan a month. Right now, our country is facing a shortage of goods, and it's still a seller's market, so it's naturally profitable, Su Mo explained. Workers' wages in our country are relatively low. She remembered that by the end of this year, the government would start raising workers' wages. Oh dear, if everyone starts doing business, wouldn't we all become wealthy quickly? If business was so profitable, who would want to toil in the fields for a meager harvest? Mom, while there is profit in business, not everyone can do it. It may seem easy now, but that's because I've planned everything out. For the clothing business we want to start, you need someone to design the styles, and you also need tailors to make them. Those aren't the hardest parts. The challenge is sourcing the fabric. How many fabric tickets do we get in a year? Without some skills, how could we get so many beautiful fabrics? The clothes Su Mo sent had already been brought back by Ding Jiqing a few days ago, and both Lu Xiaolan and Li Wei had seen them. They were truly impressive, clearly high-quality items that even the department store in Tang City didn't have such fashionable styles. Although the prices were a few yuan higher than those in the department store, the styles and quality were incomparable to ready-made garments from the store. For those who cared about appearances, what mattered was standing out from the crowd. Upon learning that Su Mo had gone to Tang City, Ding Ziqing immediately took a leave of absence and returned home that night. He fully supported Lu Xiaolan's idea of opening a clothing store. Zhang Zhen had mentioned to him more than once that the situation would change drastically in the future, urging him to take advantage of the current moment when few people were awake to opportunities and policies were not so strict, to start a side business and earn some extra money. When opportunities arise, being one step ahead can make a significant difference. Ding Jiqing had originally planned to wait until after graduation to start a side business, but since Lu Xiaolan brought it up early, he was more than willing to cooperate. During his last visit home, he had already looked at several potential shop locations. However, since he had no business experience, he was unsure about the best choice. With Su Mo arriving, he quickly returned to seek her help. The next day, Su Mo accompanied Ding Jiqing and Li Wei to choose a shop. Su Mo inquired about the general lifestyle habits in Tang City and, based on past experiences, made a recommendation. Although it wasn't the busiest street, there were several well-known factories, hospitals, and schools nearby, making it a hub for elites with higher incomes. Their clothing would be priced at a mid to high range, which the average person wouldn't need or be willing to buy. Their target customers were working individuals who valued their appearance. That same day, Ding Ziqing rented the shop for 30 yuan a month. The shops in Tang City were rebuilt after the earthquake and were all public property, not available for sale. Previously, they were only available for public leasing, but after the reform and opening up, some were made available for private rental. After securing the shop, Su Mo offered some renovation suggestions. Since Ding Ziqing studied architectural design, he quickly grasped the key points. Later, Su Mo shared various sales techniques with the three of them. Besides selling clothing, the shop would also offer shoes, hats, scarves, and some unique items not available in Tang City. Su Mo would arrange for the goods to be transported by train along with the clothing. Ding Ziqing and Lu Xiaolan were extremely grateful to Su Mo. Without her help, opening the store would have been much more challenging, especially with the difficulties of sourcing inventory. Lu Xiaolan cared for her family, and Su Mo was happy to support them. Relying solely on their salaries might not lead to a comfortable life, and accumulating assets would be even harder. While small businesses were still profitable, they hoped to earn some money to buy more properties. Although they might not become extremely wealthy, they could live a more relaxed life without worries. After everything was settled, Su Mo flew back to Yang City the next day. She hadn't taken many days off, as she had many responsibilities at work and home. While Su Mo was in Tang City, Guangdong Province announced two significant pieces of news. First, the Revolutionary Committee was officially abolished and renamed the People's Government, merging with the original provincial and county committees. There were major personnel adjustments, with a new leadership team appointed, consisting of knowledgeable and visionary individuals. In the newly announced list, Yi Wenbin and Geng Chongqing were appointed as the top two leaders. Since their transfer from Beijing, Yi Wenbin and Geng Chongqing had been busy in the three economic special zones, investigating local conditions and discussing economic development plans with local leaders. Now that they had a preliminary plan, they had just returned to Yang City a few days ago. Second, Guangdong Province established a real estate transaction office, allowing private property sales and ensuring the rights of private property transactions. These two decisions sparked considerable debate in society. Conservatives believed this undermined the achievements of the previous revolution, pushing for a return to capitalism. Despite the opposition, the country's need for reform and opening up required new attempts. Fortunately, the higher-ups granted sufficient autonomy, preventing the dissent from causing significant turmoil. After Geng Chongqing took office, he found some time to gather the family for a meal at Su Tingda's large house in Xiguan, discussing future developments. Most of those related to the Su family, whether in politics or the military, now held high positions, and there were certainly many watching the Su family closely. They needed to be more discreet. Some potentially risky matters were no longer suitable for them to handle personally. It was time to cultivate reliable professional managers to take over. Just a few days after the news from Guangdong Province, another hot topic, millionaire households, overshadowed everything. As the name suggests, millionaire households are those with an income of 10,000 yuan or savings of the same amount. For many ordinary people at the time, this was unimaginable wealth. A year into the reform and opening up, many media outlets began to uncover those who had become wealthy first. To their surprise, there were quite a few, most of whom were individual entrepreneurs or engaged in contracted farming or breeding. Once this report was released, it instantly sparked nationwide discussions, with some expressing envy, others following suit, and naturally, a wave of green-eyed envy emerged. Under the long-standing belief that the poorer, the more revolutionary, and the influence of absolute egalitarianism, some people could not stand to see others become rich. Being poor was fine as long as everyone was the same. The poorer, the more honorable. But if others became rich while they remained poor, that was unacceptable. Leaders had said that those who became rich first should help those who follow. The first batch of millionaire households reported faced various forms of harassment, from unsolicited visits for meals to requests for favors, making their lives miserable. Some even decided to stop their previous businesses, becoming hesitant about their newfound wealth. In late January, The 3 new clothing stores in Haisher were ready to open after renovations. Su Tingqian and his wife returned to Haisher a few days early to train the sales staff on etiquette and sales techniques, ensuring that customers would have a great shopping experience. The stores were spacious, each about 100 square meters, with high-end decor. The street-facing areas were all glass, and there were several display zones and fitting rooms. Although Haisher is known as the fashion capital of the country, stores with such decor were rare. Even during renovations, people were already very interested. The opening was set for Sunday, a day when most people were off work. The grand opening banner was hung 2 days in advance, and on opening day, everything was 20% off. Although this was a common tactic, it was still appealing in an era of uniform pricing across the country. Moreover, the fashionable clothes visible through the glass walls had already caught the attention of many fashion-conscious women. On opening day, customers gathered outside the store early, worried that their favorite items would sell out if they arrived late. Once inside, customers found the sales staff smiling and friendly, with fitting rooms available, so they didn't have to worry about buying the wrong size. Every customer left very satisfied. Many who planned to buy just one item ended up leaving with 2 or 3 after compliments from the sales staff. Word spread quickly, and the clothing store was busy for a whole week before customer traffic began to decline. After all, with such trendy clothes and complete accessories like shoes, hats, scarves, and bags, this store was unique apart from department stores. Su Tijian and Hui Qingjun each took turns at different locations, helping and guiding the sales staff. Although the employees were smart, they needed some direction since they had no prior experience in sales. Time quickly passed to February, and the new year was approaching. Last year, the food stalls had good business and made a nice profit. On February 1st, Su Tingqian asked all stores to close early and booked a large private room at the state-run restaurant, setting up several tables to treat the employees. Long-term employees received a year-end bonus of 2 months' salary, while those who had not completed a year received 1 month's salary. New employees at the clothing store each received a red envelope with 20 yuan. In addition, there were practical vouchers, a porcelain basin, a thermos, 2 towels, 2 bars of soap, and 2 kilograms of sausage for each employee. Su Jing sent a significant amount of money, exchanged for a pile of remittance vouchers, enough to provide benefits for employees in both locations for a whole year. These items were all prepared in advance and displayed on a table at the entrance of the private room. The Su family had about 30 employees across their stores and workshops in Haisher, making the setup quite impressive. When the employees arrived and waited for the food to be served, Su Tingqian called them up one by one to distribute year-end bonuses and benefits. The sight of the bonuses on the table was quite striking as employees signed to receive their rewards. The employees were already happy to have a feast, but they were even more thrilled by the unexpected surprise. This was a benefit that even factory workers did not receive. If anyone dared to say they were working for capitalists and being exploited, they would have something to say in response. Which capitalist gives employees 2 extra months' salary at the end of the year? Their factory offers great benefits, yet they don't see such bonuses. Taking advantage of the moment, Su Tingqian announced 2 major pieces of news. First, starting this year, employees would receive a 10% salary increase for every year they worked. Second, after 5 years of service, employees could apply for company housing. The employees were at a loss for words, overwhelmed with emotion. This job was simply too good, with so much potential. As long as they worked hard, they would get a raise every year. Which factory workers can say they get a raise every year? Only they could. In a factory, it might take years to get a promotion. Moreover, after 5 years, they could apply for housing, solving their biggest concern. In factories, even after 10 years, they might not get a chance for housing. They truly had good fortune, finding such a great job and such a wonderful boss. How could they not work hard to show their gratitude? Most of the employees hired by the Su family were former educated youth who returned to the city. After returning, they struggled to find work and held lower status at home. Even when they helped at the Su family business, they were still looked down upon by some relatives compared to those with stable factory jobs. Now they could finally hold their heads high in front of those people. Their job benefits were just as good, their salaries were higher, and they received annual raises. Even the housing issue was easier for them to resolve, far surpassing what others could achieve. Feeling proud, the employees went home that day to boast about their good fortune. Zheng Ling's brother's son, Zheng Jiamin, also went to the countryside as an educated youth. After returning to the city, he struggled to find work until the Su family expanded their hiring. After Hu Qingjun consulted Su Tingqian, they brought him on board. The next day, after Zheng Jiamin told his family, Zheng Ling and his wife, Mei Xiuqing, brought some gifts to thank Hu Qingjun for introducing such a good job. Hu Qingjun was not home that evening. Zheng Ling and his wife hosted them. Hu Qingcheng, who worked the day shift, was home that night. Hearing Zheng Jiamin bragging made him feel uneasy. After they left, he secretly asked Zheng Ling, "Mom, is the job at Uncle Su's really that good?" Zheng Ling smiled. "Of course. Didn't your cousin say? If it weren't that good, would he say so? Cousin has already received 2 months' year-end bonus. Doesn't that mean my brother gets even more?" "Your brother doesn't get a year-end bonus. He gets a profit share," Zheng Ling replied. "Oh? How much is that?" Hu Qingcheng asked. Zheng Ling hesitated, but then held up 3 fingers, saying, "This much." Since her younger son was not an outsider, there was no need to hide it. 300? No, it's 3,000. Hu Qingjun had drunk quite a bit at the gathering the night before and, feeling happy about the profit share, had given some to Mei Xiuqing to save. So much. Hu Qingcheng gasped. That was his salary for over 5 years. Hu Qingcheng took over Hu Qingjuan's job, earning 42 yuan a month. He had been working there for 2 years without a raise. "Your Uncle Su values your brother, so he gives more. You must not mention this outside to avoid jealousy," Zheng Ling instructed. "I understand," Hu Qingcheng replied, then sulked back to his room. Lying in bed, the more he thought about it, the more uncomfortable he felt. His brother seemed to take everything good for himself. Initially, it was agreed that after he graduated, their mother's job would be his. But before he graduated, his brother lost his job, and their mother's job quickly became his brother's, forcing him to work in the countryside for years, nearly exhausting him. When Uncle Su was hiring, he had just returned from the countryside and logically, he should have been the one to help Uncle Su. But his brother immediately transferred the food factory job to him, taking the good job for himself. Otherwise, the one receiving a 3,000 yuan profit share today would have been him. While the employees in Haisher were having their New Year's Eve dinner, the employees in Yangcheng were doing the same. In Yangcheng, there were over 100 employees, so they split into several groups for the meal. The gathering took place at a restaurant run by a local business owner. On this day, it was the food factory employees' turn. After finishing her meal, Wang Suimei hummed a little tune on her way home. When she got home and saw Zheng Guosheng, she excitedly talked about the events of the evening. "Every year, salaries increase by 10%. My current salary is 55 yuan, so this year it will rise to 60.5 yuan. Plus, there are 2 months of year-end bonuses each year. In 7 or 8 years, my salary will catch up to yours. After 5 years, I can apply for a dormitory. If my kids get married and have no place to live, I'll apply for one for them." Wang Suimei spoke happily, completely unaware of Zheng Guosheng's increasingly dark expression. Zheng Guosheng was already upset about many people getting promoted recently, especially Lu Changzheng, who had been promoted to a deputy military rank while he remained in the same position. He hadn't moved up in 10 years. He believed his abilities were not much worse than Lu Changzheng's. In fact, he treated his subordinates better. Both came from similar backgrounds, rural families without any support. The only difference was that Lu Changzheng married a good wife who could help him, while he married someone who only held him back. Now, this illiterate rural woman had the audacity to say she would catch up to him in a few years. It was truly ridiculous. How could a farmer compare to an officer like him? Did she look down on him, thinking he wouldn't get promoted in a few years? Zheng Guosheng felt his authority and dignity were being challenged. So, he slammed the table and shouted, "Shut up." Wang Suimei was startled and immediately retorted, "What's wrong with you? Why take your anger out on me?" Keep mixing with these capitalists, and you'll regret it. What do you mean, capitalists? We're in a time of reform and opening up, and you're still stuck in old thinking? They are helping the country create jobs and actively participating in economic development. Don't you understand? Wang Suimei shot back. How are they not capitalists? Hiring so many people is exploitation. They give you a little profit, and you're eager to work for them. Your awareness is really low. For every extra penny they give you, they've already made 10 from you. Only you, fool, are so happy to let them exploit you. Is making a little money really that impressive? If everyone is busy making money, who will defend the country? Without us soldiers, no matter how much you earn, it would all be taken by invaders. Wang Suimei was momentarily stunned and finally said, "Have you lost your mind? Defending the country is your responsibility as a soldier. Workers making money and building the economy is not wrong. Everyone has different roles. The leaders have said that farmers grow food and workers produce goods. Even though the roles are different, they all contribute to the country. Why is it wrong when you say it? If there were no workers producing in the rear, where would your clothes, shoes, and weapons come from? Do they just fall from the sky?" Zheng Guosheng was momentarily speechless. He knew he had said the wrong thing out of anger, but he was also frustrated by Wang Suimei's rebuttal. It seemed that ever since she started working at Sumo's place, she no longer listened to him. Every time he said something, she would argue back. Zheng Guosheng was furious and simply left with his briefcase. Wang Suimei's second daughter came out of the room, worried, and asked, "Mom, did you argue with Dad again?" "We didn't argue, just exchanged a few words. Don't worry about it. Focus on studying hard to get into a good high school." Wang Suimei's second daughter was already in her third year of junior high and would soon take her entrance exam. Her eldest son had joined the army after finishing middle school, and Wang Suimei hoped her second daughter could go to high school and even college. After lying down in the duty dormitory, Zheng Guosheng became angrier as he thought about the argument. He sat up, took out paper and pen, and prepared to write a complaint letter. This country is ultimately socialist, not capitalist. He needed to report these bad trends to the leaders and nip them in the bud. As for Wang Suimei, if she wouldn't listen to him, he would call her parents to discipline her. If she dared to argue back, that would be unfilial. The next day, Zheng Guosheng called his parents, saying he would take them to Yangqing for a good time, and they were so happy they jumped 3 feet in the air. They had wanted to go for years, but their son had never allowed it. Now that he finally agreed, they had to hurry. So, the elderly couple packed a few clothes the next day, took their youngest son to guide them, and got a letter of introduction from the village before heading south. A few days later, Mr. and Mrs. Zheng arrived in Yangqing. When Wang Suimei came home from work and saw her in-laws and younger brother-in-law suddenly appear, she was very shocked. "Dad, Mom, why did you come here with your younger son?" Mr. Zheng and the younger brother said nothing, but Mrs. Zheng's face darkened as she scolded. "What? You don't want us to come? Or is it that my son is filial and knows to bring us here to enjoy life?" "Oh no, that's not it. I was just surprised. Guosheng didn't tell me about this. Otherwise, I would have taken time off to pick you up." Wang Suimei forced a smile, feeling very angry inside. That scoundrel Zheng Guosheng didn't even mention such a big thing to her. She was unprepared, and if his mother was unhappy, she wouldn't know how to deal with it later. Mrs. Zheng snorted. "Guosheng is busy with work. He might have forgotten. Besides, you can't drive, so there was no need for you to pick us up. This family is run by her son. Why should he discuss things with a woman?" In the afternoon, Zheng Guosheng sent a car to pick them up, which embarrassed Mrs. Zheng. A car for pickup is a privilege that even commune officials don't have. Only county officials do. "Hurry up and cook. We're all hungry," Mrs. Zheng ordered. "I heard from Guosheng that you found a part-time job. From now on, tell your boss to let you off work early in the afternoon to cook. That part-time job doesn't earn much. Taking care of your in-laws and husband is the priority." Because of the money provided by Zheng Guosheng, Mr. and Mrs. Zheng had become increasingly lazy over the years. Back in their hometown, they did no work at all. The old couple spent their days lying at home or chatting with idle men. Even during busy farming seasons, they wouldn't help with cooking. Sometimes, if the daughter-in-law was late with dinner, they would scold her. The other daughters-in-law back home secretly called the old couple greedy landlords, cruel in-laws from the old society, who only knew how to exploit and torment their daughters-in-law. Wang Tsuemei's second daughter, Zheng Mingxia, couldn't take it anymore and argued, "Grandma, my mom has a real job, not a part-time one. She earns 60 yuan a month. How is that not much?" Mrs. Zheng was taken aback. She thought Wang Tsuemei barely earned 10 yuan, but it turned out to be 60. She didn't expect part-time jobs in big cities to pay so well. In their county, regular workers only earned 30 or 40 yuan a month. This made Mrs. Zheng's mind race with possibilities. She had 4 sons. Besides Zheng Guosheng, the other 3 farmed in the countryside. Those 3 sons had several grandsons, and now 2 of them had graduated from middle school and joined the farming workforce. Since part-time jobs paid so well, why not bring her 3 sons and those 2 grandsons over to work and earn money? With such high wages, if they worked here for a few years, those with skills could stay, and those without could return home with money to live well. Thinking this way, the traditionally biased Mrs. Zheng rarely showed a kind face to Zheng Mingxia. "Mingxia, tell Grandma more about your mom's job." Zheng Mingxia wanted to make her mother look good, so she explained in detail to Mrs. Zheng, while Mr. Zheng and the younger brother listened closely. While they talked, Wang Tsuemei hurried to the kitchen to cook. Fortunately, on her way back, she encountered a pork seller and bought 2 pounds of meat. Otherwise, there would be no vegetables for dinner. Zheng Mingxia had already cooked rice and washed the vegetables. Wang Tsuemei stir-fried some vegetables with the meat, made braised pork, and fried a few eggs. They would eat like this tonight, and she would buy better vegetables tomorrow. At this moment, Wang Tsuemei still didn't know that her in-laws planned to stay long-term. She thought they were just visiting for a while and would return home before the spring plowing. Since the elderly rarely visited, she wanted to make sure they enjoyed their stay to avoid being accused of being unfilial when they returned. Just as Wang Tsuemei finished frying the vegetables, Zheng Guosheng finally came back. Since his parents were visiting, he should have returned earlier, but he didn't want them to think he had a light workload and also wanted to assert his authority over Wang Tsuemei, so he deliberately came back at this time. Seeing her most successful son return, Mrs. Zheng quickly got up to greet him. Even Mr. Zheng, who had just ignored Wang Tsuemei, quickly turned his attention from the TV and smiled, saying, "Guosheng is back? Are you hungry? Your wife is cooking. It should be ready soon." Zheng Guosheng, acting like a leader meeting the public, shook his parents' hands. "Dad, Mom, little brother, you've worked hard coming here. I was busy with work today and couldn't pick you up. I'm sorry. Was the journey smooth?" "Pretty smooth, thanks to you." Mom finally got out of the hospital and saw the world. It was her first time on a train, and that train. "All right, Guosheng just got off work. Stop chatting. Let's eat first," Mr. Zheng interrupted. Mrs. Zheng immediately fell silent and smiled awkwardly. Yes, let's eat." Just then, Wang Tsuemei came out from the kitchen shouting that dinner was ready, and the family quickly sat down to eat. Once the 3 Zheng men sat at the table and saw the bowl of greasy braised pork, their eyes lit up, and they quickly grabbed their chopsticks and stuffed their mouths. In no time, half the bowl of braised pork was gone. Wang Tsuemei's youngest son, Zheng Hongfei, watched in shock, his mouth agape. Though Mr. and Mrs. Zheng received 20 yuan from Zheng Guosheng each month, they needed meat tickets to buy meat. They didn't have enough tickets, and buying from the black market was expensive, so they could only eat meat every 10 days or so. After the reform and opening up, things improved a bit. More private poultry could be raised in the commune, so the old couple occasionally bought a chicken for a treat. However, they hadn't eaten well on the train, and since they were big eaters, seeing meat made their eyes shine. Zheng Guosheng brought out some alcohol and noticed that the bowl of braised pork was nearly empty, causing his mouth to twitch. He felt embarrassed by his family's behavior but didn't know how to address it with his parents, so he took his frustration out on Wang Tsuemei, who had just brought out the food. "Knowing Dad and Mom were coming, why didn't you buy more vegetables? Is this enough for anyone?" Wang Tsuemei didn't let him off the hook. "How was I supposed to know they were coming?"
You didn't tell me.
If I hadn't run into a meat seller on the way, we wouldn't even have meat tonight. Zheng Guosheng, furious that Wang Suimei was undermining him, snapped, if you didn't know before, why didn't you rush to buy something once you found out? I was busy cooking. I didn't have time. If you knew they were coming, why didn't you buy some vegetables on your way back? Mr. Zheng, seeing Wang Suimei argue with his son, immediately frowned and scolded, eldest son's wife, is this how you talk to your husband? How dare she speak to her husband like that? It was outrageous. Wang Suimei rolled her eyes and fell silent. Over the years, she had seen through it all. Most of the men in the Zheng family were not worth much, pretending to be good people outside but bullying their wives at home. Her father-in-law was even worse. After marrying into the family, she heard that he used to hit his wife when he was young, but he had calmed down after Zheng Guosheng became successful. Seeing the meat nearly gone, Zheng Guosheng realized he couldn't drink without meat, so he pulled out some money and sent Zheng Mingxia and Zheng Hongfei to check if there was any roasted meat available at the nearby shop. Not far from the family compound, there was a small shop selling roasted meat. Usually, Zheng Guosheng wouldn't bother buying from such places, firmly against supporting opportunistic businesses. But now, he had no choice. At this hour, the only shops still open were privately owned, as the public ones had already closed, including the canteen, which had also shut down. Zheng Mingxia and her brother rode their bikes out. Luckily, the roasted meat shop still had half a roast duck and some pig head meat, so Zheng Mingxia bought it all. On the way back, Zheng Hongfei asked Zheng Mingxia with a bit of frustration, Sister, why are our grandparents different from Leilei's? Zheng Hongfei envied N and Leilei for having grandparents who always brought them treats and new clothes when they visited. So, when Zheng's grandparents came, he was very happy. He had already planned to show off to Leilei after they bought him something. But now, that hope seemed to be fading. At 11 years old, and in 5th grade, he understood most things. After spending the afternoon with his grandparents, he realized they were nothing like Leilei's. Not only did they not bring him any candy, but they also spoke to him without warmth and were a bit bossy towards his sister. During dinner, they only cared about the meat, stuffing their faces without considering that others wanted to eat too. It was quite rude, almost like a character from a story. A starving ghost. It's like they haven't eaten meat in hundreds of years, Zheng Hongfei added. Maybe they have a hard life in the countryside and don't get to eat meat, Zheng Mingxia replied, not wanting to speak ill of their grandparents in front of her brother. But Mom sends them 20 yuan every month. How can they not have meat? Zheng Hongfei knew a bit about this, as their mother often said that their grandparents were taking advantage of them.
Well,
maybe they're just saving money, Zheng Mingxia said, not really believing it herself. Her grandparents looked healthy, and not at all like people who were starving. Her friends' grandparents from the countryside were usually thin and sunburned. Though her grandparents weren't pale, they didn't look like they worked hard. They rarely visited home, only going back twice in all these years. Zheng Hongbing, the eldest, might know the relatives better, while Zheng Mingxia only recognized a few, and Zheng Hongfei had no memory of them. The last time they went back, he was too young to remember anything. The siblings fell silent on the way home. Once they bought the meat, Zheng Guosheng and his sons finally had some wine. By then, the bowl of braised meat was empty, and there were only a few bites of fried eggs left. After dinner, Zheng Mingxia and Wang Suimei washed the dishes and did laundry outside, while Zheng Guosheng's family sat in the living room chatting. Taking the opportunity, Zheng Laopa asked Zheng Guosheng, I heard Mingxia say that your wife got her job through the neighbor's family. Guosheng, why don't you talk to her husband and see if he can help your brothers and nephews get jobs too? Zheng Laopa thought that the neighbor's family was helping Wang Suimei because of her son. Zheng Guosheng was taken aback. He had brought his parents over to help Wang Suimei quit her job. Now they were the ones wanting to work there? Mom, what are you talking about? The neighbor's wife is from a wealthy family, and now they are back to being wealthy.
We should stay away from them.
I worry about Suimei working there. I'm afraid it might backfire on us. The pay isn't much, but the risks are high. I keep telling her to quit, but she won't listen. I thought you all could help convince her to leave her job. Although Wang Suimei's job had improved their financial situation, Zheng Guosheng preferred her not to work rather than lose control over their lives. Why would you give up such a good job? Zheng Laopa asked, confused. Isn't it said that reform and opening up allows private businesses? Zheng Laohan added. That could change any day, Zheng Guosheng replied. But it's allowed now, right? Zheng Laohan pressed. Zheng Guosheng nodded stiffly. Then it's fine. If we can work, we should. If not, we can just go back to the countryside, Zheng Laopa insisted. 60 yuan a month. Your brothers in the countryside wouldn't even earn that in a year, she argued. Mom, you don't understand. Working for a capitalist means we could be held accountable later. Zheng Laopa grew anxious, sensing that Guosheng was unwilling to help his brothers. She loved money, and seeing several 60 yuan opportunities slip away was unacceptable. They can't hold us accountable. We're not capitalists. Our family has been poor for generations. We're just workers being exploited. If they stop letting us work, we'll be the first to report them for exploitation. Just like during the land reforms, the more we fight, the better off we'll be. Zheng Guosheng was momentarily speechless, feeling a bit ashamed of his mother's shameless reasoning. Mom, stop. I don't agree. Zheng Guosheng firmly rejected her idea. Suimei's job is already affecting my work. If my brothers go there too, I might even get demoted. He would never bow down to Lu Chongzheng. Zheng Laopa wanted to say more, but Zheng Laohan, seeing his son was upset, quickly intervened. Be quiet. What do you know, you country woman? Listen to your son. Zheng Laopa fell silent when her husband spoke. That night, as they went to bed, Zheng Laopa regretted not being able to speak her mind. She said to Zheng Laohan, why didn't you let me talk earlier? The neighbor's wife is from a wealthy family, and we're just helping them. What's there to be afraid of? She was anxious about the money. They relied on their eldest son for support, and if the other sons in the countryside could earn money too, they would have 50 yuan a month. Life would be so much better. The eldest clearly doesn't want this. If you keep pushing, he might send us back, Zheng Laohan warned. He didn't want to return to the countryside, where life was harder and less comfortable. The eldest just worries about the reputation. I can explain it to him, she insisted. You don't understand. The eldest has always cared about his image. It's one thing to arrange a job for his wife, but to get his brothers in too? That's a huge favor. This is something he can't handle. Tomorrow, I'll find out more about the neighbor's situation, and when the time is right, we'll approach them ourselves. Zheng Laohan also didn't want to miss out on the money. After years of being treated well in the countryside, he thought others would respect him just because he was older. The next day, after Zheng Guosheng and Wang Suimei went to work, Zheng Laohan called Zheng Mingxia to ask about Sumo's family. That morning, he saw Lu Chongzheng and his sons practicing martial arts in the yard and greeted them. Seeing how young Lu Chongzheng was, he assumed he was just a subordinate of his son, which made him feel more confident. After hearing Zheng Mingxia's report, he was shocked. What did you say? That young man is of a higher rank than your father? Zheng Mingxia nodded. Yes, he has been rank higher than my dad for a few years now. Sometimes, Su Mo would go with Wang Suimei to pick up their salaries, so Wang Suimei knew about Lu Chongzheng's rank and told Zheng Mingxia, who remembered it. How much higher? What's his rank? Is he a deputy division chief? He thought his son was already impressive, being a division leader at such a young age. My mom said he seems to have been promoted to division chief a couple of years ago. Zheng Laohan gasped. Zheng Hongfei quietly added, he's not just a division chief anymore. He's been promoted again. I heard from Lele that they're moving to those two-story buildings after the new year. Zheng Laohan started to feel uneasy. If Lu Chongzheng was a leader, he would need to be careful when approaching him. Old Zheng pondered for several days on how to bring up a topic, but he couldn't find the right moment. Ever since he saw the father and son practicing martial arts that morning, he hadn't seen anyone from next door. After asking Zheng Mingxia, he learned that the neighbor's child usually stayed outside when not in school and only returned home occasionally. Old Zheng and his sons were a bit anxious. With the new year approaching, if the neighbors didn't return soon, they would have to wait until after the holiday. He heard from his little grandson that the neighbors might be going back to their hometown for the new year. When Zheng Guosheng returned, old Zheng discussed the matter with him. Zheng Guosheng was furious. He never expected that after a few days, Not only had their intentions not faded, but they had intensified, and even his father had started to think about it. Zheng Guosheng regretted calling his parents over. It felt like he was shooting himself in the foot. Zheng Guosheng tried to reason with them again, but it was useless in the eyes of the greedy old couple. After all, if their other 3 sons got jobs, they would receive an extra 30 yuan each month, which was a significant amount for them. As the father and son argued, they began to clash. Zheng Guosheng accused old Zheng of being obsessed with money and wanting to ruin his future. Old Zheng scolded Zheng Guosheng for being selfish and only thinking of himself, not considering helping his brothers. They ended up in a heated argument. Meanwhile, the Liu family of 4 had already boarded a plane to Beijing. To adapt to the focus on economic development, the leaders pointed out that civil aviation should also move towards a corporate model. Starting from the end of January, the military-managed airlines began their transition to corporate reform. The flight attendants, who used to wear military uniforms, changed into new outfits, and the service improved, learning from foreign airlines to offer drinks and snacks. After 2 days of travel, the family finally returned to Lijiakan on New Year's Eve. Even Liu Fengqin, who was serving in the military, took a leave to visit her family at Liu Changjing's suggestion. The whole family was finally together. Seeing all his descendants, Liu Qing'an couldn't stop smiling. In the entire commune, Liu Qing'an felt proud. All his children and grandchildren were doing well. His eldest son and daughter-in-law both had jobs, which was impressive for a dual-income family in the countryside. His eldest granddaughter was in the military, and his second granddaughter was excelling in her studies, likely to get into college. His grandson, though not the best student, was obedient and didn't have any